Thanks so much for joining us. This is our MeWe Awakening panel for energizing body, mind, heart, and soul. We have events throughout the Northwest and many online. This is our online panel. And the theme today, it's the first time we've had this theme. We have some specialists on the panel that have brought this as a specific theme. It's connecting astrology to neurodiversity, synesthesia, and the clairs. So we've never had a panel on neurodiversity. It's great to do this and then to connect it with astrology. So much fun. There are 7 of us on the panel tonight that will be answering questions from the audience, answering questions as we always do, and we'll answer questions on any topic. We'll spend a bit of time talking about the topic today before we jump into answering questions. And I'll do some things to set the container before we start on questions later. Probably let's just go ahead and have everybody introduce themselves and talk about the theme as we go through. And we'll come back and do a little bit more about the theme afterwards. Yeah, I think it's great. So go ahead and take 2-3 minutes to introduce yourselves. I'm trying to think, there's got to be something else I need to say. Maybe I just say it's free to be here to listen and learn, and it's a small price to ask a question of the panel. I will put that information in the chat. And if you want to ask a question, please pay first. Send your birth date and time, birth time, and place information, if you have all of that, either to me or to Katie, the astrologer. And when we answer your question, we'll be able to work with your astrology. Yeah, so, and if some of you are new, you'll be able to hear answers from many of us when you ask a question. Yeah, let's just jump into some introductions. So unless anyone wants to go in a different order, we'll just kind of play in a similar order that we did before. And we'll just go ahead in the same order that we ended up actually doing it. So we'll do Henry, Katie, Kendara, Eva, Carrie, and Stephanie. All right, go ahead, Henry.
All right, so hi, I'm Henry India Holden, a little bit subdued because we helped my little dog pass yesterday at 1 p.m. after a long decline, but she's surrounded by love and light, but it makes me a little like, oh, my sweet dog. So, I have ADHD, and part of ADHD has been trying this, trying that, trying the other thing, and always pivoting before something comes to completion. And so part of what that caused is that I didn't really find out what I'm about for a very, very long time, because I was about this and then I was about that. And then the issue with that is that when you're always in a state of searching and questioning and trying things, you don't really get to the place of being fully present. And my experience now that I am fully present, my experience of being fully present is probably might be the most important thing. Second is having enough resources and having health. These are also almost as important. But being present in life, otherwise life passes you by. So like I got to be really present with Annabelle. And so the experience didn't pass me by. And so today I'm not sitting here going, what happened? I'm very aware what happened. And so the way in which I help people get present is, first of all, I use a rocket book. So I'll tell you about that later. Makes a huge difference. Sometimes, even when you have ADHD, even something like this rocket book here, an external technology can be helpful. But mostly, it's through, instead of using figuring it out mentally through therapy, I figured it out with nature. So I'm an ecotherapist because our body belongs to the body of the world. And the body of the world is just, when you connect with that, you're automatically healing. And so, yeah, I think that's what I have to say about that right now. You might have questions about what is ecotherapy, how does that work for me? And I will try to filter what people are, the questions people have this evening, filter that through the lens of ecotherapy, which is a way of being present, not just as a human being, but being present as a part of this entire life that this world is. Thank you.
Thanks, Henry. Katie.
Hi, my name is Katie Kay. I am the astrologer on the panel. I imagine some of the other panelists have some information along those lines, but I'm a certified astrologer. I took an 8-hour test, and I'm a certified coach. And so I put them together for my practice. And my interest in this, Eva and I were talking about this, is that, when I look at your chart, I can see indications and stories of strategies you used as a child, perhaps, to accommodate how life was giving mixed messages, perhaps. And those strategies sometimes seem to be caused by external factors or internal passion. Okay. And so what I like about not like about neurodiversity, but what I think neurodiversity is a struggle between what is neuronormal and how you feel neurodiverse. And so when we look in astrology to see how these markers might show up, we can reformat them for best use. That's sort of where I'm coming from with this, because as a coach, my endeavor is to help you move through any challenge. And so I look in astrology. Now, one thing I want to say, anybody can use their aspects, their planets, their life, their superpowers any way they want. Is all free will, and so it's an exciting thing for me to coach people through these ideas, because they get their own ideas and they're off and running. I hope that's a little introduction to what I hope to talk more about today. Thank you.
Thanks, Katie. Go ahead, Kendara.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kendara Laurel from beautiful Denver, and I'm beyond excited to be here. I'm especially excited because we're talking about synesthesia, and I taste words. And I've had it ever since I was a baby. And the way you can tell if someone has it is you will say to them 3 years from later, what does the word Phyllis sound like? Now, you can't say what words taste like red jello, but it's amazing. You can get full without even eating just by saying words. But in addition to having synesthesia, I also do belief shifting. And belief shifting consists of helping you find self-sabotaging beliefs, often starting in childhood, and identifying and replacing them with positive ones, which allow you to manifest your goals. I do that with a combination of intuition, I Ching, and tarot, whatever is needed at the time. And I'm delighted to be here with all these wonderful practitioners. So thank you, Lorelei.
Thanks, Kendara. Eva?
Yeah. So Eva Vennari with the Elevate Institute, and I help people reverse their burnout. And this whole conversation started with 2 individual events. I was one of the people who came to Lorelei and said, hey, we need to do a panel on this. I think it's an important topic that's getting a little bit not ignored, but needs to be spoken about more in depth. And I found really interesting combinations between the video that I watched on YouTube that said, hey, these are the 16 things that are signals to autism in adult women. And as I listened to it, I went, that's me. Oh, that's me again. Oh, look at that. I'm really identifying. And I realized I am definitely, as I test, a moderate autistic person. And I knew I was dyslexic for years. In all 4 ways you can be severely, and also been clairvoyant my whole life. Well, isn't it interesting how all of these things have a combined interest with each other? Being a medical intuitive, being able to use tarot, reading energies, clearing energies, working with the divine outside of the veil. All of these things have been amplified. That's my belief. As Katie and I were talking about this, that's our belief that we have gifts. And I think that's part of the conversation I want to have today, is maybe you do too. What are your gifts and how are you seeing that they're connected? So I use this in my everyday healing practice, and maybe there's a way that you can too. So this is the topic of discussion I would love to have with you today, and I'm so glad to be here.
Thanks, Eva. Carrie's next.
I wholeheartedly agree with everything you said, Eva. I do believe that they are connected. I too am very clairvoyant, clairaudient, all that stuff. And I also have synesthesia. I didn't realize that it was a thing until I was in my 30s, because I've always had it. Like you said, I think Kendara said she tastes colors. I do the same. Taste colors taste words. For instance, I almost said it backwards. The word address, like what's your address? It tastes like ranch dressing every time I hear it or say it. It's just, I don't know, let's see, the letter A is red. I don't know why. But so grapheme color sin, Lexiol, gustatory sin, we'll go into that a little bit more. But I'm also really, really, really into crystals. I'm holding blue apatite because I don't love talking in front of a lot of people, and that helps me with my throat chakra. So lots to say, but I'm going to stop now. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. And someone else shared in the chat, and feel free, anyone else that senses any neurodiversity, synesthesia, anything like that. If you want to share that in the chat, feel free. More people are coming in. All right, go ahead, Stephanie.
Okay, my name is Stephanie Bucklin, and I've been clairvoyant all of my life. I think I didn't realize that I could talk to ghosts. I was a medium, I was psychic, I had all these skills until I was in my 30s and ended up just intuitively healing someone with energy. And I thought, there's something to this. I want to research more about energy healing. And as I've developed my skills, so too have my psychic skills. So at this point, I have psychic medium abilities. I cross over ghosts all the time. They show up in my house and look for support, and I will give them support. So apparently they know in the spirit world, go see Stephanie, she knows what to do. And I have a lot of these intuitive hits that happen during my Reiki sessions. And so if you come see me as a Reiki practitioner, I will have information for you after the session beyond what the healing experience that you have, information from your energy field or from your higher self that is cues for you to move forward on something. My last Reiki client, the biggest cue that she had was stop blocking yourself from spirit. And so it was a cue for her. She's a healer as well. She needed to listen to spirit more. I'm like, hey, well, there you go. That's why you're getting Reiki. So something that I absolutely love about Reiki is that I also receive healing every time I practice. And so it's a healing modality all the way around. It is a beautiful practice and blends so beautifully with psychic abilities. It's just wonderful. And I am excited to be here with you. This is going to be a very interesting conversation.
Great, thanks so much. I'm Lorelei Shmayo. I'm an intuitive eye reader and body psychology coach. I had lots of challenges growing up, crazy family, and I survived by watching people really carefully. I'm naturally good at details and picking up patterns, and it's led into the work that I do in the world with people where I recognize all kinds of things. And Katie has looked at astrology charts for some of us on the panel, and she'll talk about that. And some of my natural abilities showed up in this as well, that you can see from my astrology chart, not only in my natural capacities of what I read in my eyes. So I read your eyes, and I believe that we all read eyes all the time. If you think about when you've met someone with dark sunglasses and you can't see their eyes, there's so much missing. And as soon as you see their eyes, there's so much there immediately. We all pick up so much about each other. And I've learned a set of archetypes to use to understand what it is that we see in each other, a way of categorizing how we show up, what we naturally value and contribute, how we communicate, how we protect ourselves, all kinds of different traits. I use this to help you have more insight into your soul, your purpose, your path, and insight into other people in your life. I use this to help you find people to connect with for various reasons, for work, for romance, etc. And I started this community because it was part of my opening. I started doing my work as a coach. As I was doing assessments, I didn't realize that I was doing anything intuitive. A colleague finally kind of nudged me, made me wake up a bit. And this whole community grew out of me exploring that for myself. So over the years, I also do authentic relating work, helping people learn how to connect, learn how to show up more authentically and connect with others and form relationships. And over time, many people that have autism have come to these events. It's a great way to practice all kinds of social skills. And eventually I finally realized I have so many different characteristics of people with autism too. And so I must also be on the spectrum myself. So it's only been the last 2 or 3 months or so that I've talked about it publicly. It makes lots of sense of my childhood and just so many different things. And those of you who know me know I'm a little weird. And so it's just part of how I'm a little different and a little unusual. So more opportunities to come out of various closets and own all those things, right? I'm queer, I'm non-binary, I'm psychic, and then I'm also neurodivergent in various ways. So yeah, so we're not going to be having anyone else talking today. I would say, Zoe, I'm so glad that you're here today. It's so perfect that you're here on the panel. And we are going to be having the people on the panel talking and the people asking questions. So please, if you could be patient. And maybe, since I know you said actually it's really hard for you to write in the chat, we might make a special exception for you, and for anyone else where that's true, we might let you talk a little bit, but not quite yet. So Zoe, if you could just hold on, we'll include you a little bit.
But I have to go pretty soon because my niece is going to be here
Okay,
soon.
well, let's just do you now. I think it's great that let's just go to you now. I think it's great that you're here, everyone. So Zoe, can you just say a little bit about why this panel is relevant for you? So people
Yeah.
understand too. Great.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
We can. Go ahead.
Stephanie, can you give me a thumbs up if you all can hear me?
We can.
Perfect. So for people that don't know me, my name's Zoe, and I'm originally from Portland, Oregon. And I heard about this little Lorelei, who's my favorite.
And then just, but I guess, do you want to share a little bit of, because I know you've attempted to join some of our panels and we've been sorting out how you can do that. Did you want to share a little bit about this theme and why this theme matters to you?
Yeah, sure. Can I get someone to back me up if I get nervous?
Yeah, we'll support you and help you so you can share. Go ahead.
Can Kendra help me, because I'm a little bit nervous?
Kendara, yeah. Kendara, if you want to say something, so Zoe feels a little more comfortable. Zoe,
absolutely. You know what? We're all nervous. I know that sounds silly, but we really are. And we're just so happy that you're here, and, you know, no judgment. And thank you for being vulnerable enough to admit you're nervous. But honestly, I've been doing this for more years than everybody here together has been alive, but I still get nervous when I do this stuff. So,
really?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, whenever I do a reading, I'll say to someone, does that make sense? Because I'm really not sure it does. So
I had a question for Eva, if I'm not sure if that's pronounced.
And it's so we have people, so we have we generally have people pay to ask a question. So that's just the way these are set up. But if you want to share a bit about you, and we might be able to say some general things. So go ahead. And we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the theme a little bit, and we'll kind of get back on track. Go ahead, Zoe.
So in case people didn't know, I have ADHD, which I always forget a lot. And I just came back from a trip, which is in Michigan. It was really hard to leave my grandparents.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any advice for me?
And so what are and I guess it's Zoe. So I so appreciate that you're here and that you came to the panel again, and you just wanting to connect and participate and share. I know it's what are the things that you do to comfort yourself?
I usually snuggle with this bear. His name is Dink Bear, and he just wanted to say hello. He is new. You see, he got tied on his
We can't see you very well. There's a window behind you and there's not enough light.
Yeah. Let me turn my light on. Hold on. Let me turn my light on.
Sure.
Can you guys see me now?
We can see you better. Yeah. It's better if the light's not right behind you though.
Yeah. Let me get my laptop charger. Hold on.
Actually, it's okay. Just turn around so that you're facing the light.
No, because I need to keep my laptop charged.
Thanks everyone for your patience with Zoe. Zoe's attempted to participate in the panels for quite a while, and Zoe's always wanting to share verbally, and it doesn't work on the format of our panel. So given that it's this panel in particular, I really appreciate everyone taking some time so Zoe can share.
I'm a little, thanks for letting me share, because I what was the question again?
I was asking what you do to feel comfortable, and you were sharing about your bear.
Yeah, can someone
Yeah, we can see you. We can see your bear now if you want to hold your bear up.
Yeah.
I got one of my bears.
This is my dink bear, everyone. He has like a little sew on him, basically, and he's a little scared. What I do with him is that I usually snuggle with him.
Good.
Every night.
Good. I had one of my bears out today because I was feeling sad about something. So I got out my bear to snuggle my bear. Oh, and Katie just got out a dog.
What kind of dog is that, Katie?
Oh, we can't hear you, Katie. You're muted.
Yes, this is a little Dalmatian dog named Spot.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been with me since the birth of my second child, who's now 35 or something. And he's my comfort dog. So I really appreciate you realizing and appreciating your comfort dog. That's the way I calm down when I'm upset.
I have one other special friend I want to close to me.
That's great.
This is my seal, and he is very special.
Great.
And I love these guys. And so for some of the I had a couple questions. Can I ask my question to the panels?
Yeah, go ahead. We'll see if we can give you some brief answers. Go ahead.
So my question is for Stephanie.
Stephanie has a real life baby with her.
What's the dog's name, Steph?
This is Little Bear. He looks like a toy, but he is a real life dog. He's a multi-poop and my little snuggle bug.
And so my question is for Carrie and Stephanie. Is that okay if I pronounce your name right, Carrie?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, I knew it.
You got it.
How did you guys find out about this group?
Let's see. Stephanie?
Facebook.
Yeah, same. Social
I found
media.
Lorelei, one of MeWe Fair's events on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And Eva, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name right.
That's all right. I'm here, Zoe. I remember you from one of our fairs. You came to my class.
Yeah! Woo!
Welcome back.
How do I pronounce your name?
Eva, you got it right.
Kendara and Katie.
Kendara, thank you. Kendara, how did you two you and Eva can answer together if you guys wanted to.
Okay. I guess I found it the way everybody else did with Facebook.
And Katie K, how did you find out?
Well, Eva and I came up with the idea originally, and then we went to Lorelei and said, hey, we should do this. So Eva and I are old buddies and have done projects together. And when she told me that she was discovering her autism, I was fascinated, and I went right to her chart and I go, oh, well, oh, look at this. Oh, look at this. Oh, I see. So it really sparked me doing more research, and which is endless. But to see how I could help people reframe their lives from a disabling label to a freeing one.
And Katie and I know each other another way too, and that someone else has been trying to get us to do some work together. So this is great, Holly. Right? We're destined to do this.
My question is for Henry Holden, I think.
For Henry, yeah.
Yeah, Henry. Henry, are you there?
Hi, yes, I am. What is your question?
So my question is, what was you're a speech coach, right?
No, I'm an ecotherapy life coach.
And how did you find out about doing that?
Lorelei sent me a link to a Pacifica class for radical ecotherapy.
Well,
And-
Zoe might want to know how we met the first time too. Is that
Oh. How we met the first time was that I'm generally a shy person, and I was at the Starbucks in Kirkland, and I was overhearing somebody on the phone, sitting there having a coffee, obviously doing their work, and just the snippets that I heard, they sounded like it called to me. It had to do with metaphysical awakening. You know some of the words that you would hear if Lorelei is talking about a MeWe panel or a MeWe fair. So I heard these words and I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go up to her and I'm gonna ask her what she's doing. At that point, I didn't know, I'm not sure I even knew I was non-binary. So I thought automatically she, as we mostly do when we identify somebody in a female body. Now we both are non-binary and use they.
Yeah. Quick question.
And then they told me about it, and I was like, I'm really interested. And then we met a few times, and over time, eventually, I started participating, and I'm really happy.
Which one is Joe? Joe L, the one that wrote me a message, I think.
Yeah, maybe it's someone else.
That's Joy.
And
Joy.
And Zoe, we're gonna finish up really soon too.
No, I just want to meet Joy.
Yeah, and Joy is another listener that sometimes is in our events. Yeah.
Hi, Joy. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Zoe. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I've heard a lot. We can't stay. You are. I see you. It's so finally good to meet you.
Oh, great. Nice to meet you, Zoe.
Where are all of the panel people are from?
Yeah. So Zoe, we want to get moving with the rest.
No, just so that I can.
Let's go through and just say really quickly. So I'm, and I'll say I'm on the unceded ancestral land of the Snoqualmie people. That's about 35 minutes driving east of Seattle. So anyone else on the panel want to say just where you are?
I'm in Denver, Colorado.
Denver? I can remember. Where are you from, Lorelei?
That's what I just said where I am at. So I'll just say Seattle.
Seattle, got it.
I'm from Round Rock, Texas right now, but I'm heading towards the coast.
Going towards the coast, right?
Coast, the West Coast. Okay. Where's everyone else?
I'm in North Carolina. Oh, but go ahead.
Sorry, I'm in Phoenix, Arizona.
You're from Phoenix, Arizona?
Yep.
And I'm in North Carolina.
No way, what part?
I'm in central North Carolina, near
you know Raleigh, Durham?
Yeah, I'm about an hour away from Raleigh. And I'm about 30 minutes from Durham. Yeah, I live really close to, have you heard of Duke and Carolina, the basketball team?
Yeah,
kind of right in the middle.
My best friend, Emily, she goes to, NC State. No way!
And then who else? Let's see. Eva hasn't
my
shared.
son wants to go to NC State next year. So, yeah.
And where's Eva? I think Eva hasn't shared yet.
Eva, go ahead. I'm out of Los Angeles.
And how did you find out about this program, Eva?
This particular program?
You mean, I think Eva already answered. And sorry, Zoe, want to keep going. Henry, did you share where you are?
Henry, are you still there?
Yes, I am on the unceded land of the Muckleshoot and Duwamish tribes. And right close by is the Chehalis Nation and the Klallam and the Luminations and the Nisqually and the Lushootseed. I hope
I'll be right back.
There's a
Hey, Zoe, thank you so much. I'm coming right back. Actually, we're going to go on with the panel, Zoe. So thank you so much. I'm so glad that you jumped in and that we got to connect with you today.
No, I'll be right back.
You can come back and listen. All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for.
I'm just gonna go get my notebook. I'll be right back.
Great. Thanks letting Zoe participate. Zoe's been wanting to do that for a long time. All right, great. So let's see. Let's see. I was sharing a bit about me, and I think that's really all you need to know about me. I'm an intuitive eye reader and a body psychology coach. So let's see. So this panel got created, right, by Katie and Eva in their journey and discussion together. And let's see, panelists, if there's anything else you want to say about the theme. And we have one person that wants to ask a question already. We might have more people online as well. I'll put the information in the chat again. So if anyone wants to ask a question, they see how to pay, and then let me know that you're in line. Yeah, so anyone else want to share some things about the theme? Anything about you personally and your discovery about the theme and its connecting astrology, neurodiversity, synesthesia, and the clairs. So various ways that were open and how it's connected to all kinds of phenomena and how you could see it in our charts. Go ahead, Eva.
Yeah, I'm Katie is going to talk about the astrology for sure. I'm more about the clairvoyance, but my family's always thought I was a little bit strange, and I just wanted to share this very personal story about how I've been sharing it with people. I touched on it, but this runs in families. It's genetic, and oftentimes it's not something that you kind of develop necessarily. It's a born into thing. And I was sharing with my sister the different, I call them features of a neurodiverse person. And she responded with, "Isn't that normal?" And I said, "Well, welcome to the club." No, it's not. That's not, to need to fit in and constantly worry about the social endeavors. And if you feel like an outsider, if you always have felt different, not quite sure, people called you oversensitive, like these are all of the things that go with any of these neurodiversities. And part of the wonderance is being able to put the past of people, and this was my story, grieving the past of overcorrection from well-meaning loved ones in a very harsh way. Why couldn't you be like a neurotypical person was the underlying theme. We never were meant to be. And so how wonderful it was for me to put down, and maybe some of you have experienced this too, to put down the need to fix, because there's no fixing this. It's just, how can we be a genius in our own right? That's what I want to say. We're not here to label anybody, but definitely I'm so looking forward to this conversation. And that's all I wanted to add. Thank you, Lorelei.
Great, thanks. Yeah, anyone else?
Yeah, I'd like to add something. A few years ago, a friend of mine said, "I think the reason you're so psychic is because you have synesthesia." And I started thinking that's probably true, because if you've got one sense, which is coming across in different ways, it makes that sense, like my clairvoyance and clairaudience, go into all of them. So then I realized what a gift it really is to have, and I was very thankful about it.
Yep, great. And I guess for anyone that doesn't know all the clairs, and everyone just chime in as we call all of them. I know, so clairvoyance is clear seeing, clairaudience is clear hearing, clairgustance is clear tasting, claircognizance is knowing, and there are a bunch of other ones too. I know I'm not thinking about all of them right now. So anyone else want a clairsentience? I think of it as body sensations, and some people consider feelings to be part of that too. I personally think of clairempathy as feelings, emotions, but that's not a typical one that is coined to that. Yeah, anyone else want to jump in with other clairs? These are just names for how we pick up things in ways that a lot of people don't. So we're like more sensitive, we're picking up other we see things or hear things, etc., that other people are not typically aware of. Everyone's potentially open, and a lot of people are not. Yeah, people are sharing, yeah, tasting the food that someone else is eating. Go ahead, Kendara or Henry, or if anyone else. Yeah, and Zoe, we're going to be focusing on the panel right now.
Yeah, some of the other clairs are clairvoyance, where you see it, like you said, clairaudience, where you hear it, claircognizance, where you know it, and clairsentience, when you feel it. And there is one where you taste it and you smell it. And somebody put in chat, they wanted to know the name of the one for.
Yeah, I'll put a list.
I'm not sure.
I'll put a list in the chat in a moment. We have them in our other events.
There's so many of them, though. It's amazing. And what's really interesting, I find, I'm sure everyone else here has too, they all take turns. You know, like sometimes the clairvoyance is strong and sometimes the clairaudience. It's just a smorgasbord, actually.
Which one is clairgustance? Is that taste, or is that?
That's taste.
Okay.
I know there's a
I always
smell
get that mixed up.
Oh, Claire Aliens is smelling. There we go. It's in the chat. And there might be more as well. It's just all the different ways that we perceive.
And I'd like to add, there are 80 different types of synesthesia. I had no idea. I knew there was a lot, but I did not realize there were 80 types when I looked it up today, because I couldn't remember the specific names for I have several different types, and I knew the grapheme color, which is, I think that's the most common one. And that's the one where you have, numbers or letters can be colors. And if it's okay, I'd like to share just a very quick story at work. Like I said, I used to be a lab technician, and some of the tests that came through come in as 4-digit numbers. And somebody went through and had the numbers spaced out to where we could divvy up where the tests go, so it's easier to just grab them and go and start working on it. And someone thought it'd be a good idea to also color code it. But my synesthesia didn't work with the colors and the numbers. So I kept putting, even though I knew where I should put some of the tests, I was putting them in the wrong category because my colors were mixed up with the numbers. And it took me almost a year to really get it straight in my mind to where I could just go, So it's just fascinating. And like I said, I was in my 30s before I even knew I had anything specific. I thought it was something like, somebody said something about being normal, but what is normal anyway, And I don't know, everything's all mixed up together, and I think it's wonderful.
Great. Yeah, lots of people sharing things in the chat too. Feel free, anyone, do you want to share about your experience? Great.
Can I ask a question?
We're gonna well, go ahead, say what your question is. It might be one we can answer right now.
So someone said that the numbers and letters, who was that again?
Carrie.
Yeah. So Carrie, you said, can you repeat what you said
about the colors? Sometimes, well, not sometimes, all the time, but some letters have certain colors and personalities for me. Like, for instance, the letter G is a mean old man. And then numbers, they're always the colors, like number one is red, 2 is yellow, 3 is blue, 4 is green, 5 is brown, 6 is black, 7 is orange, 8 is purple, 9 is pink, and 0 is clear. So 10 is like a mix of clear and red. So and then it gets more complicated as we go. So that's pretty much it.
Zoe, do you see different things as different colors or anything like that?
Yes, I do. So I usually see red, green, blue, or orange. Sorry if my dogs are barking.
That's okay. It's great. Yeah. So you probably have synesthesia too, right? And this is where, like, do we have synesthesia? For some people, are they seeing auras? Like, they're all different kinds of ways that we can see colors. Yeah. Right. Thanks so much.
What do you mean by
what do I mean by
different origins or something?
I'm talking about auras. It's okay. It's something else. You and I can talk about this offline. Okay, Zoe? Okay, great. Thanks, Zoe. Kendara, did you have anything else you want to share, or just have your hand up from before? It's great.
Well, I could share a story because I love it. I put it in chat, but I think it's really interesting. I was reading at a psychic fair, and one of my friends who's also a reader was saying that she was giving a session to somebody and started smelling medicinal smells, like a hospital, like a doctor's office. And the person she was reading for said, oh yeah, I'm a nurse practitioner, and one of my patients just died, and that was her way of saying hello to me. So it's just so really interesting stuff.
Yeah, mediums pick up all kinds of different things about people. Yeah. Well, Katie, I guess before, I know we have at least one question in line. Did you want to say anything about any of our charts first before we
I'm just having such a fun time hearing what you say about your experience and looking at your charts and going, oh, I see that. Oh, I see that. Let's see if I can get a little bit like that. Eva, for instance, one of the I don't know how much the audience knows about astrology, but there's planets, and the way they shine on each other says a story. So Eva has an aspect where Uranus, which is a little crazy kind of planet, is right next to where her sun was when she was born. That means she's a crazy kind of gal. You know what I mean? There she is dancing. But what I also interpret that is at the age of 5, which is part of the ratio, she felt a discordance. And she and I've talked about that, and that's probably where she felt a discordance with how she was asked to behave. And so that's very interesting to look at. Lorelei, I loved you said something else that I wrote down when you were talking about your eye reading and the distinctiveness of it, because you have an aspect Uranus and Pluto together in your chart, which is only like 5 degrees apart, which Uranus is, like I said, the crazy planet, the unusual, the spontaneous, and Pluto is deep passion. So deep knowing, you know what I mean? So that at maybe the age of 5, you felt that discordance, but it was different than Eva because you got intense. You know, there could have been a different reaction. And so, for instance, when I work with clients, we see this, and you know, intense is good, and intense can be hold you back. Do you know what I mean? And Uranus can be freeing and unique, and obviously most, as you heard, the people on the panels have used their uniqueness not necessarily now anyways as a rebellion against the world, but as a way to find a unique way to be. So those Uranus and Mercury is in charge of the head and the mind and communication. So Mercury retrograde in your chart when you were born sometimes shows that you thought and talked and spoke differently and understood things differently when you were young. That could very well have been ADD, dyslexia, etc. So that when I see people with that, I say, hey, you just see things differently than most of the people around you. And that helps change how they have a point of view of their path forward. I don't know, there's a little bit of stuff.
Great. Okay, thanks. Great. Maybe we're going to get to questions sooner. If you wanted to say anything else about anyone else's charts that said that was okay, feel free. And then we'll jump into our first question in a few minutes.
I've got my work here. I did a little work. Who was it? Gee, now I've got all this in front of me. Well, I want to say something. It's not just a panelist, but I want to give a little note here. Temple Grandin is a woman who has a documentary and did TED Talks. She was diagnosed as a little bit more autistic than Eva anyways. And I looked up her chart, and there are some astrological markers called quincunx and semi-quincunx, which I don't use very often, but I noticed there was some in her chart and other people's chart. And also you have a planet in one zodiac right next to a planet in another zodiac. So they're close together, but they have whole different kinds of tones and energies and harmonies. I guess I have a sort of a synesthesia because I see these things on the chart, and I get all sorts of stories coming into me. All right, so there's that.
Great. All right. Okay, well, let's see. Maybe we'll leap into our first question and just some things I want to say before we jump in, and I'll probably spotlight us here. So this is a great opportunity for everyone to practice opening to intuition. You might want to get something to write with, write on, take notes, scribble, draw, as you have a chance to see if what comes for you when people are asking questions is similar to what we say in the panel. You might have lots of relevant things come through that we don't say. It's just an opportunity to get confirmation that others are tapping in the same ways. It's a great opportunity to learn from all that's asked and all that's answered, whether or not you ask a question. Please allow the attention to stay up on the panel today as we answer. If something comes for you for someone that asked, you believe that it is, please wait until we've finished answering their question, and then feel free to chat them privately and ask them if they'd like to hear what came through you. Please honor whatever they shared. If they want to hear, great. And if they don't, just trust that it came through you for some other reason. They just may be full after hearing our answers. And then also when we answer, if we go deeper in your life than you want us sharing about, we talk about topics you don't want us sharing about here. If we talk about ways we wonder you might be clairsentient or who knows that you don't want us sharing about anything here today, please let us know, interrupt us in the moment and give us guidance. We want to honor you in our answers. All right, great. Well, so I know we have Verna in line first. I'm going to go ahead and start spotlighting us. And then Verna, if you want to, you're welcome to jump up here and be in the spotlight with everyone else if you want to come on camera. And everyone can ask, anyone can ask a question about whatever they want. It may have to do with the theme. It may not have to do with the theme. That's all perfectly fine.
Okay.
Great.
My question.
Go ahead.
Question has to do with, did you want my birth date and everything?
I did get that, Verna. Thank you.
Okay, great. Yeah, I've been having so much, oh, now my video's weird. Okay, anyway, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I just had to leave a job because it changed ownership. I feel totally blocked when it comes to work. Again, this is a recurring thing. I want to embrace my intuitive, the things that come naturally for me, like writing like I want to do tarot and other things, but my self-confidence is it gets so low, and it's just so it's challenging right now to keep my spirits up. So today I spent some time in nature and it was really wonderful. But once I get back home, I'm just kind of like, wow. So that's my convoluted question or straightforward question, whatever you got.
Okay. Well, Verna, I can see exactly in my language, in the astrology language, pretty much the whole story of what you just told me. You have a super talent of discernment, of emotional discernment. And that is coupled with an ability to heal. You do have a healing modality. There's no doubt about it in my book anyways. But because you were very young and might have gotten an awful lot of criticism or constructive or other ways, or borders or rigidity on how to act and how to feel or how to not feel, you have now maybe, this is all, if it sounds right to you, have a voice in your head that says you're not allowed to feel that way. Well, you are allowed to feel that way. And at the same time, it is excellent idea to be with nature, with animals, with nature, because they make sense to you. Because there is no criticism in nature. Zippo, nada. Doesn't matter if a branch falls down, beautiful flower blooms. There's this natural rhythm of it. And I encourage you to just recognize the natural rhythm of your feelings and let them go all the way through and out the other side. Don't hold them, don't judge them, let them go. And you'd be very good in the healing arts. And yes, you do have natural writing ability. I just want to say this, and maybe the panelists will say that no matter what it is your heart wants and what the world thinks to say that you should do, it takes courage to say, this is what my heart wants to do. I'm going with my heart, because your mind will back it up. You've got a good mind. Your mind will back it up, but you don't want to put your mind first, because your heart will be dragged around like a 2-year-old hungry little kid,
does.
and it will scream its way through the whole place. So let your heart lead you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Katie. All right, who else has an answer for Verna?
Verna, I've got a bunch of
Kendara,
stuff.
and then
to
Verna,
add.
and then, yeah, Kendara, and then even, and all the practitioners, if you could raise your hand in Zoom, that would help me. 'cause I know
I had a
people-
feeling as I started just jumping in that I should have raised my hand.
Okay.
Verna, hi. There's a
Hey.
man in Denver named Charles Cox who does readings. And someone said to him, what makes you do this? How do you do it? He said, you do a reading. And they said, and then what? He said, and then you do another reading. So what I'm feeling for you might be a really helpful thing is to just practice. Get a deck of oracle cards, not tarot cards, oracle cards, any deck that calls out to you. And then ask a question, look at the card and get 3 pictures or symbols from the card. That'll
Okay.
really help you. Another thing, and I'm going to sound like a broken record, is meditation. And everybody's nodding. Even just sitting there and you're nodding, so I'm sure you meditate also. But in addition to that, there's a book, and you don't have to buy the book, but it's called Writing in the Divine by Sarah Weissman. And the idea behind it is this: after you've meditated for about 15 minutes, sit down with a pen and paper and just ask your higher self, what do I need to know? Because you've got the gifts, you've got the skill, and like Katie already said, you are a healer. But just the practicing will make it fall into place. I mean, your energy is absolutely beautiful. So it's just doing it and trusting yourself.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thanks, Kendara. Go ahead, Eva. Let's get you unmuted.
Can't hear you, Eva. There you go.
I was pulling cards while you were speaking. And while I was shuffling, 2 cards jammed each other. And it came up with 7 of Pentacles, which can sometimes mean stagnancy, and then the Chariot. So trouble moving on. Yes. And to Kendara's point, it's a matter of practice, right? So it's about building up that the muscle of confidence. And yes, you can definitely do that on your own to a degree, but I started out, and for many years, I did this as a hobby. I'm not suggesting you do it for as long as I did. I did 20 years as a hobby of doing it for strangers, people that I know, and then people that were strangers. But your future is is what I pulled anyways, is the Page of Swords. This is about study. Right, so it just goes right into what everybody else is already saying. And the bottom of the deck, I normally don't pull on a 3-card read, but I did this time, and it's just 9 of Cups with the 3 of Pentacles, which is about working with others. Right, so you've got a mastery of your emotions. If this card doesn't give you confidence to realize that you do have that healing, I don't know what else can. Like, this is really good. When you were speaking about being a writer, intuitively it was coming into me and seeing like ghost writing, working with corporations as a person who works behind the scenes, not necessarily on the front lines. Because if somebody were to hand you a microphone right now, would you be able to do it? Right, so there's some confidence to overcome and being able to express yourself, which is here in the throat chakra, and I can see that. But just to start, this is just about being able to do this with friends, family, and eventually move into strangers. As far as being able to who to work with. That's what I came up with.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Great. Who else wants to share with Verna? Anyone else? Yeah, I'll comment on, I think it was Katie that shared that you have the strength in your heart. And so following your heart and choosing work that really is a fit for your heart this time seems really important. So there's the taxi job, which is work to get you to where you want to go, which is working with people, right? Doing intuitive work and healing work with people. So for the practical taxi job, choose with your heart. And I love the idea of you working with animals. So looking at ways you can do things, if you feel called there. But yeah, really letting your heart choose what the job is. I think that,
Okay.
yeah, make a difference this time.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Who else wants to share with Verna?
I'll go if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Carrie.
So when you were talking, I got an image. I know this is going to sound extremely strange, but I think this is why this happened. But anyway, for 2 mornings in a row, I was taking my dog out, and this dragonfly came to me twice. Actually, it was 2 days in a row, actually 3 days in a row, honestly, because it happened again this morning. And like I said, I'm dabbling in light language, and I have learned that everything has its own soul language. So I kind of settled down and let everything go to the side, and I began to channel this this dragonfly. And if you're not familiar with light language, it sounds kind of crazy. It's anyway, so the way I see it is all these sounds are coming out. A lot of times I don't know what I'm saying, but sometimes I do. And it's almost like when you're speaking Spanish or something like that, you're interpreting in your mind. You'll see the English words. I saw in clear as day in my mind, because I see a lot of myself in you when you were talking. I don't love sharing in front of a lot of people. I don't love reading for strangers. All the things you said, totally same. But what I saw in my mind's eye is I have to find a way to set my ego aside, which, you know, when you say the words ego, you think of something like big, but it's what is in us to protect us. Is our protection mechanism. And as soon as it said I needed to spend a little more time setting the ego aside, and when I finally conquer that and be able to just, you know, set it aside like a suit or something, you know, just then everything's going to flow the way that I expect it to. So all these lovely ladies, what they said to you before, a lot of people say to me, I can't believe you just did that. Like this, there's a lot of people who won't be able to believe I'm doing this. But if I get this strong feeling in my gut, and I just have, when I get that, it's almost like ramping up, you know, when I get it, I have to just go with it. Because if I don't, I'll chicken out and I will never do it. But you never know till you try. I think you can do it. And I think I see so much of myself in you. And I think that just we'll have to practice setting that ego aside, and then it's just going to flow once you conquer that. So I just wanted to tell you about that little story.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And I guess that's all. Yeah. Thank you.
I love dragonflies too.
Great. And Kendara has something else, I think. Go ahead. Oh, you're muted. Let's get you unmuted.
I totally agree with what Carrie said about the ego. And, you know, the ego's job is to protect you. And someone gave me a really good way to deal with the ego. You make friends with it. So the next time you feel like you're doing something wrong, or, oh, Carrie, you can't do, or Verna, I'm sorry, Verna, you can't do this. Acknowledge it and go, I hear you. Thank you. And then give it a job. And it gets your mind off of it. It's a really good tool. Because the ego, man, I got to tell you, that little thing gets in the way a lot of times. So I was glad that Carrie said the thing about the ego, because it really does have a mind of its own. But it just wants to help you. It's your friend.
Thank you for that. Thank you for, you just reminded me of something that Henry actually said to me, or in one of my sessions with Henry. So yeah, and I really appreciate getting that again, because I can write stuff down and then I go, you know how we do anyway, or I do anyway.
No, we all do. It's not just you. I got news for you.
Thank you so much, Kendara, for that, because one of the things I work with my clients an awful lot, I don't call it ego, I call it fear. As spiritual beings, we're endless, immense, everything. Whatever the divine is, it's everything. It's part of us. But we're also human. We're gonna die. It's like schizophrenia to the max. So, but if we make friends with our fear, if it says, oh my God, that's so scary, you go, yeah, It is. Hold my hand. Hold my hand with whatever faith I got. Let's go. It's scary. We're going to do it anyways. So your courage of speaking up, and Zoe's courage of speaking up, and us having the courage, even though like I sometimes go, I really wonder if I know what I'm talking about, you know, and the courage to say what comes through me, even if I'm not sure. When Eva was talking about tarot, I love to do tarot for strangers. I don't know their question at all. And I lay it on and I go, wow, this is coming to me. What do you think? That's why I have, after 35 years, continued to tarot, because everybody's surprised. And I go, well, me too. So I want to second that. So just do it anyways.
Thank you.
Great. And just while we're checking to see if anyone else has something to share with Verna, there are a couple other people that expressed interest in asking questions. Please pay ahead and let me know how you've paid, and also get your birth date, time, and place information to me or to Katie so we can look at your chart and how we answer. Yeah, anyone have anything else to share with Verna? Yeah, so and Verna, you know, we have the practice circles. You don't have to have a practice circle. Find people that you trust that are also wanting to practice, and practice with them. Practice with people where you feel safe, and just practice all the different things and take risks. And it's okay to like be wrong, because that's how we find out how we tune in and what is connected and what's working, what's right.
Lorelei, could you plug the practice circle, the next one, if you?
Yeah, let me go see if I have it right here. We have, I just scheduled a whole bunch of things. Let me go see.
Okay, well, you can answer that later.
Well, I'm just going to go grab them off my calendar. So we have Wednesday, August 10 at 4:30, Saturday, September 3 at 10:30, Monday, September 5 at 4 p.m. Maybe we don't have any more until then, but yeah, and we've got training panel on Monday. If anyone wants to do the training panel, that's doing it in front of the audience. But yeah, if anyone's ready for that. Yeah, and come to all these panels and practice, right? So see what intuition comes through you.
Okay.
Right, and all of them.
Yeah.
That's part of what, right, all these events are for, and supporting us as a community.
Part of why I come is to practice at least in my own little bubble.
Great. All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks so much, Verna, for getting us started. All right. There we go. And everyone, Henry stepped down off the panel today. Henry's just experiencing so much grief from their dog passing yesterday. So yeah, I'm glad Henry was able to be here in the beginning and share. All right, let's see. So Brittany, you'd expressed interest in asking a question, and I don't think I have your birth information, and I don't know how you paid yet. So are you still wanting to ask a question? Brittany. And then also, guys, oh yeah. So let's get you up here, and then just I can't hear you, you're muted, maybe.
Am I? Can you
yeah, we want to get your birth information for your chart.
Yeah, I paid through PayPal.
Okay, great.
And I put it as a note in the PayPal, so maybe I
no, it's okay. My PayPal is just being outrageously slow. Let me go find it. And then let me just log out maybe and come back in. All right, well, go ahead and share your question, and we will.
Or in the meantime, because it'll take me a minute to do the chart, I have Stephanie's chart right now on the panel.
Okay, yes, let's go ahead. Let's share a little about Stephanie's chart.
Right, and Lorelei, if you could text me Brittany's information, that would get to me either fast. I mean, this chat sometimes is hard to see. How's that?
See if I can do that.
Okay, Stephanie. Okay, Stephanie, I just thought I'd take this moment because you sent me your information. I was able to chart that out really fast. And now, of course, it's here someplace. Let me go here and then go backwards. Okay. It was interesting because, okay, so October 23rd, 75, 511, right? That's Stephanie. Okay. Something that you said. Oh, I don't know if I remember now, but anyways, there are your mind is very focused. When you focus, you focus. and you're very aware of balance. And that's why the Reiki is such a natural thing for you, because you can feel that balance all the way through. And at there's a part of you that is very much naturally inspiring. You're just out there. And part of it is because you bumped up against things as you went out there. You bumped up, but you went, I'm going to do it anyway. So there's this little bit of a, what is it? Walking with your chin. How do you leading with your chin or something? That is something that I see in your chart, and a lot of intuitive, you're an intuitive traveler. You're a traveler who travels intuitively. So those are things that I think naturally support your talents. Does that make sense?
Yes, very much so.
Oh, you're muted now. If there was something else you wanted to say.
I just wanted to say, tell me more, Brittany. So tell me how that matches. Oh boy. Oh, I see it. Okay.
Oh, that was Stephanie.
Stephanie, I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm getting Brittany's stuff, but Stephanie, tell me how that matched. There you go.
Yes, I've bumped up against a lot in my life. I've had a lot of challenges in this lifetime. Some of them very, very dark. Some of them very, very like how on earth did I actually end up in this place? And some of them I'm like, what the actual fuck? What the heck happened here? So yeah. And yeah, a little bit of I lead with the chin. I can see that too. The way that I respond to experiences, especially when they're challenging, I'm like, oh no, Yes, well, and thank you for the confirmation of my intuition. Intuitive traveler is interesting because I do kind of bounce around with the different skills. Cool, thank you.
Great. Great. All right, and Brittany, we've got your information. So yeah, Katie's going to make your chart. And what is your question? And we'll get started with answers.
Yes, great. So my question is about what ways in which, what might be some ways in which I would, this isn't coming out well. Let me start over. So recently, I feel like I've been awakening to a lot of my spirituality after being shut down a lot of my life. And I have a bad habit of kind of starting things and stopping things. And I just feel like a sponge. I just want to absorb everything. And what I'm curious about is if anything comes through as a path forward for me. I kind of related to what Henry was saying about seeking so many things, but not sticking maybe with one thing. Like, is there a certain healing modality that would help me along my way to continue awakening and connecting to spirit? Is there something that would help me move forward?
Great. Yeah, great question. Okay, Stephanie's ready, and then Kendara's ready, and I'm ready, and yeah, and then Katie's after that. Okay, go ahead. Stephanie first. Oh, but Eva was here too. I lost everybody.
Hi, Brittany.
Hi.
So as you were talking, I think that, have you ever gotten into yoga?
I've definitely done it here and there. Not
Yoga for me was my connection to spirit when I really started practicing. So it wasn't just the dabbling practicing. It was like I had to fully commit to the practice. And then spirit just started showing up every time I got on the mat. And I was like, wow, okay, apparently this is where I pray. This is great. This is good to know. And then the other modalities that I think will help you, to get some clarity and some guidance. Sound healing, like vibrational kind of healing, is what I feel energetically for you is going to help with like movement. And so like same with the yoga practice, it's movement that's going to help move you. If that makes sense.
It does. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Great, thanks, Stephanie. And yeah, and I didn't catch the order of everyone before. So actually, Eva, if you want to go next, Kendara, and then Carrie.
Okay, yes, I will. Brittany, hi. So pulling cards again. So I've heard of this in my own story, and I've seen it reflected in others who've come to me for advice. Being a multi-potentialist is a real thing. To have interest in so many wonderful things, either from experience from past lives, there's a richness to the Akashic record that I'm picking up on, the history of all the different lives that either you have lived or had emanated through. And so what I'm seeing in the cards is a Four of Cups mixed with a Two of Pentacles, which to me together is a little sentence that says that there's regret about juggling so many different things, which is basically you just said that. The result being the third card is the outcome, and this one is the Eight of Pentacles, and that's any eight is an overcoming. And so you're overcoming all of these different, trying to put them all together, I think is the deal. And don't be afraid of, this is my advice, don't be afraid of learning new things and putting it down for a minute, because what you learn now can be then combined later, and you'll see how they're connected for you and whatever practice you decide. Yeah, it's making sense. So the idea is put down the idea that you need to finish something to completion. Get what you need for now, feel satisfied, get that satiated feeling, and then when you get curious about something new, follow it. Almost like, oh, look, a chicken. What is that? ADD. So does that make sense?
Yeah, that's really, I'm getting some emotion there. So that's very, that helps with the shame or the judgment. Yeah, thank you.
Great, thanks so much. Okay, let's see. So we've got, I think let's have Katie and then Kendara and then Carrie.
Well, you guys sort of put it right there on your heart. She just put it right here for me. So that was good. But in your chart, I can see how you got a lot of criticism when you were young and a forcefulness to not to be different. And maybe you have an inner voice that does give you that, I have to finish it or I'm no good, so I'm not even going to start it. It's a difficult little argument. And just as Eva said, just looking at that poor little girl and going, listen, it's okay. You don't have to finish this. You don't have to finish it. Let's leave it on the floor right here. And we'll come back to it another day. Just try that. Of course, that's the emotionalism of that little kid who never got that kind of support. Perhaps that's just what I'm thinking. You have a beautiful trine. A trine is 3 planets in a 60 or one. Oh man, I can't do math. Some kind of really nice aspect. Let me say that. Turns up blue. It's really pretty. I've been doing this 35 years. Anyways, so you have a natural gift to inspire people. Natural gift. And it's about creativity. And so if you're an artist, you have a studio that's a freaking mess, but you are focused on this art and you're focused on this creation and you're focused on that creation. You know, there are other days when you wake up and you're not feeling creative and you might clean up the paintbrushes or something. That doesn't matter. Your gift is creativity and a lot of, you have like over flexibility, so that keeps you keep wanting to move things, and you're very fiery. So follow your passion, but it's a lot of creativity. Just be kind to that voice. You came by it naturally, and just say, not to worry. You're like, I call people like you, like a Renaissance woman, because you just know how to do so many different things, and you're lucky. So enjoy it.
Thank you.
Great, thanks, Katie. We've got Kendara next.
Hi, Brittany. I got all kinds of things as I was listening to everybody else. And the first thing that I picked up for you was a lot of messages you were given growing up that you can't do the things you really want. So as a result, there's a part of you that feels like you're being disloyal when you go after what you really want to do. And so I'm going to give you a really good little tool you can use. Do you know, being an artist, you would know what cobalt blue is, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, cobalt blue is the color of the throat chakra. It's the color for communication. So you will create a cobalt blue room in your head. And you will invite anybody you've got issues with, and I'm getting father very strongly, anybody you've got issues with. And you will tell, whether dead or alive, and you'll tell them what you need. And then you'll let them tell you what they need. Now, you may not hear it, but you'll feel it. And then you tell them how you feel, and you let them tell you how they feel. And then you make an agreement and shake hands. Now, there's a trick to it. Do you want to know what it is? It's all aspects of you. It's all aspects of you, but you're getting in touch with it. I also got some other things for you. Do you meditate?
It's becoming more regular.
Okay.
As of late.
Even 10 minutes a day. Do you have a meditation that you like to do, an easy one that you can easily do without having to? Okay, great. I get that you have a connection with herbs, really good connection with herbs. And I also get ceramics and crystals. So it almost feels like making some jewelry and tuning into what people like would be an incredible gift. And I don't know, do you like pets and animals? Because I also get really strongly that you have an incredible connection with nature. And you can tune into animals, and you could, if you're interested in it, look into animal communication. Because you being so sensitive and having had a childhood where you really felt things, you would have this amazing connection with animals. So I hope that helps a little bit. Thank you for coming.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thanks, Kendara. Carrie's next.
I'm going to sound like a broken record, but oh my God, I see so much of myself in you as well. Because when I first started, I mean, I've always had experiences, but when I first really did my first deep dive into spirituality, I wanted to do everything. I want to palm read. I want to blah, blah. I want to do this. I'm a medium. I was like, give me all of it. It's like consume. But I think that whatever it is that's really going to interest you, it's like when something feels true to you, it's going to hit you in your heart space. And it's not to say that you can't do all these other things well. I mean, you're intuitive, you're interested, the interest is there and all that stuff. But when you do, I want you to trust that when you do find that modality, it's going to hit you in your chest. You're going to really feel it. You're going to feel like, is there a song or a type of music that you listen to and you can feel it in your body? And it's like you're connected to that music. That's what it's going to feel like to you when you finally hit that thing. You may enjoy tarot, but you may love mediumship. I don't know. I'm just pulling things out. I too pulled some cards, and the very first card that popped out as me backwards was hematite, which is talking about grounding yourself. And I'm right there with whoever said it about meditation. I feel like a good chakra cleanse and balance for you would be great. And you could do that yourself. Do you have hematite? Is that what you're holding?
Yeah,
I can't see what it is.
I carry it around with me because it is very grounding for me.
Yes. And that's what, when I get like kind of carried away about, I want to do this, I go back and I ground. I like to imagine roots coming out of my feet and grounding that way, touching the earth, barefoot, things like that, really basic things. I do also have a breathing technique that works for me. I surround myself with white light. I breathe in through my nose, the white light, and out of my mouth, I imagine like all that negativity or whatever is making my brain kind of swirly. That's what I call it. Black, that's coming out like soot out of my mouth. And I do that exercise until I'm breathing in white light and breathing out white light. So that kind of brings me down a little bit when I'm getting kind of flustered and all that. So I just wanted to let you know about that. But, you know, just in the shower, just imagine yourself rinsing off your chakras. Like at the end of my shower, when I'm rinsing my hair, I like to make it a little cooler and just imagine that being light from, I don't know, universe, whatever you want to say. And it just comes through and it lights up my chakras and like rinses away everything and helps me keep balanced and stable. And that helps me a lot. So I just wanted to share that with you. So good luck, and you could do anything that you really want to, you know, and it's okay to have your hand in everything, but just pay attention to what really hits you in that heart space.
Great. And Kendara's got something else to share.
I figured since everybody was pulling cards, I would pull I Ching cards for you. And the card that I got, I don't know, are you familiar with the I Ching? It's a form of reading where you throw coins. It's beyond incredible. But anyway, there's 64 hexagrams, and I got number 26 for you. And it looks like, can you see how beautiful this card is?
Yes, I can.
It's called the Taming Power of the Great. And what it's saying to just strengthen your character from within. Find out what you love to do. And as you become more aware of this, everything else will fall into place for you without even trying. So avoid feeling you have to make a decision, because you really don't. So we'll just add that for you.
Okay. Okay.
Great. And I have a little bit too. So I can't see your eyes very well. And the sense I get of you is that you probably have the talents that I'm now calling creativity, used to be called artisan, and then also knowledge, which has been called scholar. So creativity and knowledge. The creativity talent has lots of different ideas and can get lost in different ideas. They say different ideas to see which ones they really are interested in. It's so important to them that they follow what's pleasurable and interesting, and their interests change. They have a history of not finishing things. Part of what happens is it's not only that they not finish things, but things aren't ready to get finished right now. So it might look like something's not happening, and really it's just underground. It's called percolation, not procrastination, for people with creativity. And that things are happening under here, and it's not until they're ready that all of a sudden there's a burst and all sorts of things emerge, things get finished, right? Things appear that no one had any idea would be there. So it doesn't always mean that you're not finishing something, just now's not the time. And it really might not be your interest anymore. It may be that you have been taught that you should follow all of your interests, and that's not actually true for someone with creativity. It's a matter of discerning and seeing which are the ones I really, really want to explore. Okay. And then with knowledge is like a sponge. They're pulling everything in, and they grow to be intuitive knowers, and part of the growth stage is pulling in everything and then connecting it and mapping it together. And so you're really good with knowing and ideas. So the creativity talent might be open in lots of different clairs, and the knowledge talent in particular might be good with claircognizance, so direct knowing. And Henry's not on anymore. You mentioned Henry earlier, and in a previous panel, I don't remember which it was, it worked out really well to grab a screenshot to show people. Henry wanted me to do that, and I still have it, and I cropped it just now. So I want to show you something that Henry recently created, because Henry has these similar talents. So Henry's done lots of different things over time. Henry's interests have changed. Henry only recently became an ecotherapist, and in the last year or so, Henry created a set of oracle cards. So these are some of the cards. And so this is where Henry's taken all kinds of different interests and pulled them together to create these cards. These cards are magnificent. They're not available for sale yet. They're coming soon. I'll put Henry's information in the chat again for anyone that's interested. You might be able to do pre-ordering. But I say this in like, it's many years of all these things coming together, you know, like emerging and differences and change and how things come together. Right. So people with a creativity talent are very sensitive to the environment, sensitive to energy. I see you have, it looks like lots of plants around you. So it makes sense. Yeah. So the plants in nature are often very soothing. And when people shared about grounding, I agree about grounding, but grounding in a way that's really supportive of you and natural for you. And it might be being still, and it might be being in physical movement. So being landed in your body on this plane, because people with creativity can be so out and floating, and people with knowledge can be so in their head. And so the way that that talent grows is by connecting with their heart and their body. And I do believe, again, I think you're strong in your heart in some other ways. I can't quite see which way in your eyes. But yeah, so finding safety in your body. Yeah, and it might be the one that's about emotions and feels emotions really deeply. Yeah, it's either feeling, I can't tell which one's the feelings or emotions, but you had a parent that had one of them too. So if you have the one that's about feelings in the moment, you had a parent that did emotions deeply, and they can be very judgmental sometimes. So a parent, and so like, yeah, so just I appreciate the other practitioners that were talking about history. So yeah, just part of your lessons and what's here, and part of it is learning to love who you are and not fit into the expectations that your parents had of you, because they're different. You know, we all go through this in various ways, and people with creativity take on the most from other people. Yeah. So hopefully this is helpful and soothes you a bit in who you are. Yeah.
Yeah, I really connect to so many. You're kind of like reinforcing things that I know I've loved throughout my life, like making jewelry. That was something I did in high school and loved. Sound baths I've tried and loved that. So it's kind of helping to cement some things that I think I knew, and they're like, okay, yeah, those really are some things. So I appreciate so much everyone and your sharing. It's going to help me out a lot.
Great. Thank you so much for jumping in and asking a question. All right, great. We have got Goddess Yasmine up next, and then Stacy. And if anyone else has asked a question, please let me know. Let's see, where is Goddess Yasmine? Goddess Yasmine.
Okay, sorry, let me turn my phone. Can everybody hear me?
I can hear you,
Okay.
but I don't have you up on screen yet. Did you want to, let me see where you are. Do you have your
Yeah.
video on?
My video is
Finding you.
on. I see.
Oh, there you are. Okay, great. I got you. Let's get you up here in spotlight. There you go. Great. What is your question?
Okay, so it's kind of a loaded question, but I wanted to share two parts to it. Recently, since I've been doing like the psychic fairs, I've been meeting a lot of people and having a lot of synchronicities, like knowing their name before they come to sit down, or like connecting their energy and like hearing what they're saying audibly in my brain and otherwise. So I was curious to know, is something wrong with my brain? Because there's like a duality I get. So for example, I said, yes, spiritual awakening. I am going through yet another spiritual awakening. And then I realized SA is also spiritual attack, also AS, active shooter. And I have an issue about that in most reading shootings, with me getting information from spirit, but not being able to do anything to stop it. They also say, SA, save all. SA, since Allah. SA, she's alive. And then a shaman alignment. And then I have like, I will go and say, okay, I'm calling on divine protection. And then my other side of my brain says, divine protection, divine people, dead people, death prediction, dimension portal. Like it doesn't stop there. So then I say, okay, well, I know that we're all one, we're all consciousness, and one, we connect to each other. And so I say divine consciousness, and they say things I don't like dead children, demon connected, or devil conjured. I don't do any type of worship to that, so I don't even know why like my brain is going down that route. And I wanted to also know, like, I feel like I have all the clairs and then some. I'm interested to see like what your guys' insight is on that. And then also on my birthday this year, which was actually a holiday, May 30th, I sent you the information for my chart. I was pulling cards, and it's at 3:33, which is my sign for like you're on the right path. And I pulled number 37, my actual age, and it says seeing, knowledge, truth, clarity, and perspective. So I'm like, okay. And there's someone I follow on Instagram. She does a card of the day, which has always been card of the day. Recently, they say cast out demon and cause of death or connected daughter. I didn't like that. So when I stopped pulling cards for a while for the last couple weeks, and then my higher power told me to pull some cards from my Earth Magic deck, because I have a very strong connection to Earth. But it was from my Earth Magic deck. I've only used it like 5 times. The first card I'm going to share with you guys that I pulled was Volcano, and that was Vitality. This is very significant for me because I have seen in another dimension where Mount Rainier blew up, and it was literally the most horrific thing. As I was driving past it, I smelled the sulfur and everything. And I said, they're telling me there's going to be another volcanic explosion, not here, but somewhere in the world in 2 days. 2 days later, there was an explosion in Antarctica that quote unquote helped see the inside of the earth better. The next one I pulled.
I want to make sure we have enough time for your answer too. So go ahead, keep going.
Okay, I'm almost done. The next one I pulled was mountain and strength. And you know how they say they move mountains? Like I have a very strong connection to Mount Rainier, but they're also like my spirit is needed. So they said, okay, lightning, pulling up power, call back your power. So I did that. And then I got the card that I didn't want to get, which was tsunami. And it said a wake up call. And I feel like it says wake up call to like wake us up what's going on. And I've had different dreams about the earthquake and then it like washing us away. And I was like, when is this happening? They said social summer radiance. I found a new acronym that was talking about I radiate gratitude. So I've been using that. But the green man, synergy is us working together. It's also C, Yasmine, Naomi, my daughter's name, enlighten, real, goddess you. And when I got that people that said my name, when I Googled it, it said like not only a magnet for lost souls, but she's like God's gift, a rainbow after the rain. And so I pulled that to remind me of blessings. And then I was just having a hard time. So I pulled another one and they did force with breathe. I've been trying to learn how to like consciously breathe. Okay, thank you for letting me get that out. I got get my note paper ready to see what you beautiful souls have to say about that.
It's great. I know. So you're curious about what your chart says. You're curious about any comments about how you're open in your clairs. And it sounds like you want any other comments we have about sort of the cards that you pulled. Is that kind of generally?
The cards that I pull, and I want to know if anyone else that I knew that was going to pop up. Death prediction. I also want to know if anybody that shares some of the same gifts has that same problem with the double stuff, like because it never used to be like that. It was just all peaches and cream and rainbows, but now it's like they're like, oh, the dead are present. Yeah, I feel that, but what should I do when my mind is trying to say positive and then the other part of my mind comes up with something totally negative that I would never have thought of on my own?
Okay, great. Thanks. Great for reframing your question. It sounds like Katie wants to leap in. Go ahead, Katie.
I'm really glad you asked that question. You have an aspect in your chart that does, in my opinion, confirm you were a shaman in another life. So shaman goes down to the deepest, darkest place, goes up their own asshole and out the other side in order to take people through that route. I know that's sort of scatological, but it's the truth. And the difficulty that you have is that the darkest part, it has death and evil and devil and all those things in it, which are just other names for fear. Every single one of those is about fear. My suggestion is to look at them and say, thanks for giving me a warning. You're right. We want to keep walking on by. You can't put a Band-Aid on fear. You have to look it in the eye and go, yeah, this is scary. I'm going to die. I also have had the feelings of Rainier blowing up and I'm a survivor, and I look out and go, oh, crap, I lived. So I know that kind of thing.
Okay.
And floods and fears. And I just have to look at them and go, yeah, that'll sort of suck if I live through that. You know what I mean? And so I encourage you to acknowledge it, because there's another thing with the Scorpio. You see Pluto's right next to your moon when you were born. So I would suggest that when you're around 3 years old, there might have been a death in the family. There might have been something that was really, really scary. So you're used to being really, really scared. So you have to get used to being really, really scared and go, yeah, that's scary. I'm scared. I don't like being scared, and just let it go right through you like meditation. Okay. Because in my opinion, you'll have it every time you think of or fear death, homicide, suicide, any of that. It's time to change. It's time to make a change. Your body, your mind, your heart is saying, hey, we got to change something here, because that's what spiritual death is. There's no such thing as death in the spiritual world. There is transformation all the time. So that's my suggestion. You got a lot of things, a lot of writing's going to help you, especially in the next couple months on the fall. You did get hurt when you were a kid. So the wound is something that bump up against your wound all the time. Just love it, wash it, cry it through, honor it, ritual it. I'm sure that some other people will have some ideas here on the panel for that. It is not a mistake that you feel that, but it's not a place you have to go, but I suggest you honor it. And so there you go. Okay.
Okay, so can I just iterate that a little bit?
Okay. So it's up to you. Yeah.
Confirmed that I was a shaman in the past life, and that I have to go to like the deepest, darkest places, but I'm not necessarily afraid to die. I just don't want to have a horrific death. And one of the things that I'm working to do is be able to help bring missing children and missing women home. And so using that
that'll do it.
And I want to clarify one thing. I don't think that Katie said that you have to go to the darkest places. People like you often go to the darkest places. You don't have to.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was in a former life. So you did the darkest places. There was all those disasters could be memories, but that's exactly right what you're doing. You now get to help other people through their dark places because you've been there. You know how much it hurts. So you hold their hands and go, listen, I know the way out of here. Stick with me. And so that's what I think is one of your superpowers, is that shaman leading us through the dark night of the soul. You don't have to go there anymore. You've been there. Okay,
That's funny because I actually did pull the shaman card with all those too, but I didn't grab it off the couch. I didn't see it. It was reminding me. Thank you so much for your input, Katie. I appreciate your things.
Great. We've got Eva, Stephanie, Carrie, and Kendara. Go ahead, Eva.
Thank you.
Eva?
Hi there. I'm going to lower my hand here real quick so I don't keep that up. Oops. Oh, it was already done. So yes, as you were talking, I thought I had the impetus to go ahead and shuffle cards, and then I heard she doesn't need cards. She needs a few stories. So I'm going to share with you. There's two things that pop up intuitively as you're speaking, and I read into the energies. There's a lot of scattered stuff going on. Some of it is the dark energy that you've been speaking to, and some of it is definitely coming from your guides, loved ones from the other side. And not everything is part of the all is one. We have elementals and we have things that don't belong to us. And then we have things that we can confuse with our shadow self that appear like dark elementals, but are not. So you have some sorting to do. I'm gonna share one story with you. I was in a difficult place with my older daughter, and she and I had a large argument in her bedroom. And as I was alone in her room, praying on her bed and wanting to know guidance, a poltergeist moment occurred, and the picture from behind me, about a foot off the wall, hit me in the head. And so at this time, I was not yet recovering as a Catholic. And so I called a priest. And he, of all people, said to me, don't be so quick to push away whatever this is trying to speak to you, because poltergeist events can often be just parts of you that you've rejected of yourself. So what I'm suggesting from this story is there's discernment and there's sorting and there's tools. And I wish you had attended, that there was, not that you would have known, it's a crazy thing to say now, but I gave a class at one of the MeWe fairs called Protection Against the Dark Arts for Real. And learning those strategies, I think, can be very helpful. And to go over all of them here tonight would not be possible. But yeah, I know Kendara's like, no, it's not. There's a lot of things that in your journey, I think, could be helped with just some structure and more education before you start jumping into places where you're not quite sure if you're protected from your the darkness, as opposed to being in a place where you think you feel safe, but you're not. So that's just, it's more of a warning, and then it's an acknowledgement that I can see it. I think we all have a sense of what's going on with you from our perspectives, but I would really encourage clearing out and sorting what you are experiencing so you can put a label on it for yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I'm curious to, I definitely appreciate that story, but I was curious to know, like, what cards come up for you guys to see if there's like synchronicities with the cards that I pulled.
Yeah, for me, I was told by Spirit not to pull cards for you. This is a very mechanical effort on your part that has to do with this, not with what you're pulling from, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Right. Thanks, Eva. We've got Stephanie next.
Stephanie.
Hi, goddess.
Hello. Hold on. Oh, I see you right there. Okay.
My goodness, I feel your scattered energy. And anytime I'm feeling scattered, I look for grounding, but specific kinds of grounding. So, like, one thing that I really love to do is just sit with trees.
Mm-hmm.
I have a relationship with the trees. I talk to the trees, they talk back. It's a thing. So trees just make me feel very safe and grounded. And then the other way that I ground is with water. And something that Carrie mentioned earlier about cleansing yourself in the shower and aligning your chakras could be a really good practice for you as well, where you visualize your chakras getting balanced and cleared as you're in the shower or as you're in a bath. Like, you use the water to help with that clarification of each chakra. So if you're not familiar with the chakras, if you don't know where your chakras are or what they do for you, then educating yourself on those chakras can also give you some guidance on what's coming up for you on a day-to-day basis. And no, you're not crazy. It's energy. You're not crazy.
Thank you. Sometimes I feel like I am going crazy, but like I said too, what I forgot to mention is that my spiritual awakening was so raw and real, and it was during my homelessness time that I got put in the hospital over 20 times and issued a bipolar schizoaffective disorder diagnosis. And they like still have me on pills to this day that I'm trying to work myself off of. But that was, well, the sound went away.
We can still hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I was
the edges that you navigate. Oh, go ahead, Stephanie.
Sorry, Lorelei. What I felt was your psychic abilities and your ego are getting mixed up. And so maybe doing some soul searching and start working with the higher self, working with your psychic abilities on your own, away from everyone else, away from the cards, away from everything, just within yourself, getting really clear on which one is your spirit, which one is the higher self talking to you, and which one is your ego trying to mess with you.
Holy Spirit, yourself, and work with that. And that's what I try to do, because like sometimes being a shaman, I have to remind myself like I'm physically still here on the earth plane, even though my spirit may be in another dimension and channeling something for a different portal. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but I always call on my higher self, because I like to heal self and I like to heal sisters. And I can understand about the ego thing too. Yeah. So thank you for sharing. I appreciate you.
Hey, we've got Carrie next.
Okay, first off, that crown, love it. And what I got for you, the shaman thing, when I think it was Katie, whoever said it first, it's like, ching, that clicked in my head. And I'm like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But one thing I want to say is, I'm feeling from you, your crown and your third eye chakra are kind of, they're overactive right now. Just like what everybody else were saying. It needs to be a balance. And when it's balanced, all that stuff, you're going to be able more to be discerning as what is needed for you to share with others versus what you can get rid of. So what I mean by that is, well, let me just say too, you can shut this stuff off. You don't have to feel like that 24/7. You can tell your guides, not right now, you guys. This is too much information. I don't know how I can be helpful. Like you were talking earlier, you may get some information and you don't know how to be able to, you want to help people, but you're not really sure how to process the information in a way that you can be helpful. Like they're giving you big problems, I feel like, that you may not, it's not like you can go to the police department and be like, hey, I think there's going to be an active shooter tomorrow or whatever. You can't really do that. So I would just sit down, have a chat with your team and just be like, look, guys, I can't do this anymore. It's making me feel however it's making you feel, and just say, let's start off a little bit smaller, or let's go a little bit smaller. So say no, and you can close. I want you, like, do you dream like at night? Are you a vivid dreamer? Okay, yeah, I figured you would be. So one thing I want you to do that I think is going to help you is visualize, like when you do start working with your chakras, visualize doors on them. And at night, especially, shut the door. Just say, not tonight. I don't want to do this tonight. This is just not something I want to deal with right now. And I feel also, I don't want to sound, I feel like you don't need those. I don't feel like you need the cards either. I feel like your abilities are pretty innate, and I feel like you're using your cards, I don't want to say like a crutch, but you're dependent on them a little bit too much. I don't think you need, eventually you won't have to need them. I think that these things are just going to come in once you really start working on telling your guides no. I don't think you're going to need them. I think you have a natural talent for that. And I'm going to be a little bit hypocritical by telling you that I pulled some cards for you. And two of them, actually, I was just shuffling them just to see what happened. And these are my crystal cards. You probably saw me pull one for earlier, but they popped out like twice. So I was like, okay, this is the message she's supposed to have. And the first one is Sunstone. I don't know if you work with crystals at all, but this Sunstone is take pleasure in the things that you do. Which I think that you do take pleasure in things you do, but your mind has, like you said before, it's starting to go dark and you don't necessarily want that. So I feel like if you stop and quote, smell the roses a bit and bring in the things that you want to bring in, like that you goddess want to bring in, not instead of letting these things fly in, you know what I mean? Control it a little bit more. And I think that by you having the conversation with your spiritual team and also kind of shutting down that crown and third eye chakra, working a little bit more with your lower ones that ground us a little bit more. And then funny enough, I got Smoky Quartz, and Smoky Quartz is an I don't know if you work with Smoky, but it's an extremely grounding stone and it's very protective. I feel like it can give you a little bit of feeling like a little bit more protection than you may feel like you have now. And also the message on the card is let it go. And I feel like that's talking to your guides, pushing down through those lower chakras, the stuff, because I think of it like the crown is like a funnel. Like we have the ones on top, that's the soul star, and the ones that connect us to our higher self. I don't know who said that, but that's something definitely that you can do as well. And then we filter in all this information and all this energy from everywhere else. But our root chakra and the ones in the lower, I feel like they're more the elimination area. And I feel like it's almost like you're funneling this stuff in and it's floating around here, but none of it's coming out, like the stuff that you don't want to deal with. You could funnel it out. So I think once everything's aligned and cleansed and going the way it needs to go, you can let that stuff go and only deal with the things that you want to deal with. I hope that makes sense to you. And everybody else. Sometimes I ramble and I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. But when I tell you guys, I honestly, genuinely be telling my guides, please shut it down. Please don't let spirit come through. Please let me have an hour where I could just sit and meditate. I'll like sit there and then I'm trying to close them down and just be present. And then I'll start choking and I was like, I'll hear, my brother did it. And I'm like, what? And then on my phone will pop up, oh, 4-year-old choked to death by her brother. And it's like, same thing when I go to sleep. I ask them to stop letting spirit come to me when I sleep, because that's when I'm like trying to really reboot and realign my chakras. But they still haven't done it. So I kind of, honestly, I just kind of been upset with them because I feel like you guys aren't helping me, you don't got my back all the way in the spiritual realm, but I know they have my back and they're doing my best interest. So it's like, is it to keep it in my best interest to just let them do whatever they think is best?
And Goddess Yasmine, I want to just we're taking more time than we have right now, so I want Carrie to be able to finish, and Kendara wants to share, and we've got a few more questions. So
okay.
These are very relevant questions. Go ahead, Carrie.
That was pretty much all I needed to say as far as elimination needs to happen. Elimination of the things, more filtering. And maybe even ask for, it's not out of the realm of possibility to ask for new guides. Just be like, look, this is not working. I need somebody else to step in and help me filter this information. I need maybe a more communicative guide that's going to communicate and filter for you. So just lay it out. This is what I'm going to accept. These are the boundaries I'm setting, strong boundaries with them. And it looks like you're trying to do that, but maybe even some kind of guide or somebody to be a mediator between them and you, because I feel like you just have such strong, everything's kind of swirling around in there. And like I said, your crown and your third eye chakra is wide open. And I feel like the rest of them are not being utilized. And I think you're going to notice a little bit more when you start balancing all 7. I think that'll help you a heck of a lot. But Anyway, and so sorry, but I have to run, you guys. My husband's having surgery really early in the morning, and it's really late here in North Carolina. But
so
okay.
share again about the modalities that you use and how people can connect with you on the web.
Yes. I am Juniper Moon Holistic on all the socials. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and I'm also on Etsy. I sell crystal on Etsy. I'm Juniper Moon Holistic on there too, all one, no spaces. And I'm running a 25% off sale on all my crystals right now for the summer. So if you're interested in anything, just send me a message. If you're unsure of what you might need, I really love to connect with people and talk to them about what they can use to help bring out whatever it is you want to bring out. And I'm sorry, my kids walked in. So, and what else do I do? And I'm a healer. I'm a crystal healer, and I also do light language. So that's pretty much it.
That's great. And there's a code in the chat, 20% off if anyone wants to sign up.
Oh,
Great.
yes. Code in the chat. Sign up. And
Thank
hopefully
you.
I'll see somebody soon.
Thank
you
much,
guys.
Carrie. And Kendara's got something to share with you too, Goddess Yasmine.
Well, I kept getting different things for you. And then as I sat there, they shifted. So the first thing I got very, very helpful for you is to look up Solfeggio Tones. It's spelled, I'll put it in chat. No, it's music. It's based on megahertz, and you can put in getting rid of negativity. You can put in protection. It's just music that will soothe you and get rid of the negativity. It's amazing. I keep it on all the time. I really do. Solfeggio Tones. The next thing I got for you was that a lot of this is based on past life in Atlantis. And you were a queen and you abused things, and you've come back to remedy it, but on some level you never gave yourself permission to come back. What we want you to know is that you've come back so that you can deal with it. And I was told about a month ago I'd start doing Akashic records, so I guess I'm starting to do them. So really good. And then I did do a card for you. I did an I Ching card for you. It's called Inner Truth. I don't have the card right now, but it's saying just trust your inner voice. And I love whoever said get new guides. They're your guides. They're not your controls. And Archangel Gabriel wants you to know that you can call on him as well. So I hope that these little things give you a little something to help you. We're really happy you've come. So thanks for reincarnating.
So you're saying it's funny that you said Atlantis, because that was kind of like what my dream was yesterday. And are you saying that like I did a lot of bad stuff as a queen then, and the karma's coming to get me now?
No, you did a lot of negative things, but you've come back to make them right. No, the karma is you feeling in your mind that you've not resolved it, but that's the ego. That's the part of you that's saying, just say, okay, thank you, but I've come here to make it better. And you would not have come back if you did not have the tools to do it. So just do not even go there. Every time you get a negative thought, which we all do, substitute it with a positive one. And then someone just yelled, tell her to meditate. So no, it's not that you're being punished. You've come back to make it right. So we'll leave you.
I can resonate with that also, because you said inner truth in the Sacred Rebels deck. The number 2 is inner truth.
Absolutely.
I've been sharing my truth with the world, as ugly as it is, but I've been sharing it.
No, it's not ugly. It's awesome. And no, you're right where you need to be. So trust it.
Your goddess love, Yasmine. Ugly? Okay, sorry. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Kendra, believe.
Thanks, Goddess.
Okay, was that it?
I think so. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Well, I actually have another Zoom meeting that I'm supposed to go to, but I just thank you guys. I'll look in the chat for your guys' information.
Yeah, I'll put it again too. You're very welcome.
That's what it says. So Solfeggio Tones. That's what I need.
Oh, yeah, Solfeggio Tones.
Solfeggio Tones.
I just put it in chat also, so you can see how to find it. And it's on YouTube. Just punch in Solfeggio Tones. You'll get dozens of ones, and you can pick the ones you want. Really, even ones working with angels. So here you go.
And Archangel Gabriel, he's number 11 in the book, and it's safe to be seen. That's what it's saying too. So
Yeah, great. Thanks,
Chills
Goddess
on
Yasmine.
that. Yeah, you're
much love.
Bye. All right, we've got Stacy next, and then we have Isha and Carol Faye. Stacy.
Hello. So I think my question is, I'm starting a business, and I purchased the domain like so long ago, and I've just been sitting on it and haven't really moved on it. And it's mostly out of fear. And this fear thing has been like a constant theme in my life. Because I'm constantly questioning, am I ready? And do I know enough? All these things. And I stay in my head a lot, all the time. It's easy for me to drop down in my body and intuit for others, but for myself, not so much. It's just, it's really hard. So looking on guidance for what comes through for you guys as far as helping to remove some of these fear blocks so I can, proceed with my goals, and also how I can open up more my clairs as well.
Great, thanks so much for your question. By the way, I think everyone experiences this. That it's so much easier to read for others than it is for ourselves. And anyone close to us that we're attached to what the answers are, it does not work as well, right? There's all sorts of stuff that gets in the way. So yeah, so you're just like us, really. This is so the way it is. All right, okay. We have, I think, Stephanie and then Eva. Go ahead, Stephanie, and then maybe Katie. Go ahead, Stephanie first.
Hi, Stacy.
Hi.
So when you said you get in your head a lot, I can relate. I do that too. And I have some practices that I use to get me out of my head and get the fear out of my body. And one of the things that I do is I journal, but specifically I journal on what I am afraid of. What am I feeling? What am my body is telling me? What is my head telling me? What am I actually experiencing here? And then I will do burn ceremonies with the moon, and it's become a ritual. Anytime a new moon and a full moon come up, it's time to burn. And I burn away anything that I journaled on in the last month. Is there fear in here? Is there like shame? Is there guilt? What do I need to get rid of this month? And each practice, every time I do, it's almost like I feel a little bit lighter the next month. It's not as heavy. And I'm still healing. I'm still moving through all this stuff. And everything is still kind of challenging, but it's all good because we are divine. We are spirit. And so having that, just remembering that we're connected to spirit, it's always there. They're always with us, regardless of whether we acknowledge them or not. They're always here.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. It's very helpful.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stephanie. We've got Eva next, and then Katie, and then Kendara.
Good. Hi, Stacy.
Hi.
Okay. I drew cards. Of course I did. And you said can you repeat just a portion of it? You're working on a new business. Is that?
It's in the, I'll put it in the chat too. Yeah. And it's in the document that I sent out to everyone.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'm an in your head person too. It comes with being an air sign, I've heard. It comes also with being on the spectrum, I've heard. It comes with a lot of things. So practice the idea of coherence. So I came up with, we have the strength card, and then the King of Wands. King of Wands is all about wanting it your way. Like think of Burger King. I want to order it my way. And the strength card is oftentimes seen as a crisis of courage. And we can't embrace courage without having a little bit of fear. And in this case, the strength card is beautiful because the warrior is not wrestling with the lion ever, right? The warrior is acquiescing with the lion to open its mouth and let it. So there's some allowing that needs to happen. And then the third card that came out is the Page of Cups, which to me is about making an offering to the heart. So when I do the practice of coherence, this is when we get our mind into alignment with how we feel. There sometimes just needs to be this meditation moment of shifting to expand the idea of what we're working with that's causing the confrontation. This is the conflict of confidence that I'm talking about specifically, and letting yourself being a work in progress. And think about, somebody told me this years ago when I first got started in business. They're like, Eva, you're an expert as long as you're one step ahead of the person you're talking to. Start there and be okay with it. That's my advice.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eva. I think we have Katie next.
Yes. Hi, Stacy. Hi, Stacy. You have a lot of Libra. You're not just, you might be a Scorpio, and you have your Scorpio moon there too, but you have 4 Libra planets right in your face and you're rising. And what that means is you see when something's out of balance, you just go out of balance. When something's unfair, bing, it hits you like a guitar string, ding, just like that. Because you have this little, it's like a carpenter's level with those little bubbles in it. That little bubble goes off and you're ready to do something about it, you know? So if you feel that makes it hard also to make a decision because you see both sides of the situation too. Do you know what I mean? So
It's all right.
yeah, and so
tattoo balance.
yeah, there you go. And so step back, get some different kind of perspective. The opposite of Libra is Aries, which is movement, but you have that Scorpio stuff going on. So you're an intense kind of gal. You too have one of your biggest challenges is tolerance to people who are not so smart as you, and it drives you nuts. You know what I mean? So both of those things would be well helped with pausing. And if you wait a little bit, the whole thing will just pass right on by. You go, what was I so upset about? So anyways, but you have also, you're a little used to chaos. And so be careful about being distracted by it. Again, that pause, a meditation, a sit back, you're confused about your value. Be confused about your value. You don't have to worry about whether you're valuable or good or not. You only need to do what you love to do. At 35 years, I still go, am I good at this? Well, if somebody wants a reading, okay. Because I love doing what I love to do. Okay. Anyways, so there's a lot more there, but I just thought be really easy with yourself, a lot of fresh air, a lot of allowing things to be, and not needing to get in there.
Okay.
Positive. You bet.
Thanks. All right. Let's see. Next we have Kendara. Go ahead.
Hi, Stacy. So I pulled an I Ching card for you, and I got 64. And let me show it to you. Can you see it? See how beautiful it is?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's interesting because I have like 500 I Ching books. Actually, not really. But one of the ones I pulled, the answer was before completion. I went, no. But then I went to another book. And that book, the title is Reaching the Goal. And I started looking at it, and there were so many things there in there that fit. And I've underlined them. So I'm just going to share them with you a little bit. It's saying basically, just resolve to continue making progress. You don't have to do it all overnight. And the key words are achievement and implementation. It wants you to just follow through, doing what needs to be done at the moment, one step at a time. It wants you to avoid blundering forward or blinding yourself to alternatives. There may be other ways of doing it. So here's some questions you might ask yourself. What effort is needed to bring this situation to a close? Even if it's letting go of something that's not working for you anymore. Sometimes that's the biggest thing you can do. You want to also ask yourself about keeping yourself focused on the goal. Don't worry about how much you've done or how much you haven't. The situation is not ready to be resolved. You are right where you need to be. And the fact that haven't done it yet just means you want to be sure that it's right. That's the thing. Just lighten up. according to my guides. They want you to find the safest, most efficient path. So maybe one, what's the first thing you really want to do? Maybe just telling your people about it. This is what I'm doing. And then putting a link on it. Like I do a Facebook page, and on it I put my link, and I've just started saying, this is my newsletter. And just little things like that make all the difference. It's also saying this is you're really making progress. Just be sure you're using the resources in the way that you need to. And it wants you to silence any little voices that are going, oh, you can't do it. You're doing fine. Just allow yourself to take it one step at a time, and don't be hard on yourself, because you're right where you need to be. So I hope that helps a little bit.
Yes.
You're very welcome.
Very helpful. Thank you.
Great. And then a few things. So one is small steps are important. So, and I think I've thought about it before. I don't know if I've said it out loud before. Your second talent is inspiration or priestess. It's about seeing not only what's here, it's about seeing what's possible, wanting to inspire and motivate in general other people to reach what's possible. And when it's the second talent, it's focused on yourself. Like, oh, I need to get there. I need to get there sooner. I need to get there faster. And so it doesn't have to be that pushy. It's just that these are some of the lessons of having that talent. And when it's second, they tend to be pushy into oneself and critical of oneself. So the talent grows to celebrate. Look at all the progress I've made. Look at all the steps I am taking, all the things that are coming together. I can do it. Let's go. And it even grows to wanting to discover what's wanted. And what was wanted 5 minutes ago might not be what's wanted now. Right. And it grows to trust the progress and the journey where we are, that it's perfect where we are right now. So that's one thing, is that's just a big lesson for you, right? All this stuff. And so I don't think you do, if you have kids or some.
I do.
You do? Okay. So the thoughts inside your head, the thoughts you tell yourself, what would you say to your kids in the same situation? What would you want them saying to themselves? And you want to use that to motivate you, not that you're bad or wrong for what you're doing inside now, but to help you find the language and the way that you might talk to yourself that's different. Right? You know their goodness, you trust their goodness. You want to come to that place where you can find and know and always trust that goodness in you. Whatever's happening, not happening, trusting that the pace is right. The other thing is, I said small steps. So you have a URL. One is that what you want as a URL might have changed, right? You might evolve and change. And if you're getting them through the providers, they're really only about $10 each. So they're cheap. So you can change and it's okay. And then instead of making a whole website, you can always just make a Facebook page, and you can point the URL to the Facebook page. So you can use the URL without having to build a lot for it. And if you want to change course, you can change your Facebook page. You don't have to commit to a whole thing, right? You can do little steps. That's part of what this talent does too, is it thinks it has to be a big commitment all the way to the thing that's perfect. And it forgets that things can change and morph. And this is great, right? This is great. It doesn't have to be this whole big thing.
Thank you all so much. So helpful. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Great. Thanks so much, Stacey.
One more thing, then I will let you go.
Stacey's going to want to die.
No, that's okay. In the ethers, you can have more than one Facebook page. You can have one for your business. I have 4 Facebook pages, seriously. And Lorelei has a lot of them too. So it's great to have. I have one for my business, one for myself, one for my church, one for shameless marketing. So have more than one Facebook page. It's the same price.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great, thank you. And practitioners, I hope some of you can stay a few minutes late. We've got 2 more questions. We've got is Esha Rose and Carol Faye. So is it Esha or Esha's in next?
Hi.
Find where you are and bring you up on screen.
Can you see me? I don't see the replay. Okay. Hi.
Yay.
Nice to see all of you.
Great to be with
So
you. I can't remember.
Esha Rose. Like Keisha without the K. Esha Rose. Yeah, that's my chosen name.
What is your question?
So I recently, after pretty much a 3-year self-guided masterclass, where I learned I'm a medium, a quantum shaman, a channel, I have light language. I have all these different clairs and a lot of other like cross interdisciplinary skills from completely different jobs in this life and past lives. So I was shown all of these things that I could do, and I had acquired. I was in the percolating stages for many years. I just redid my house, did a lot of self and ancestral cleaning, cleaned up my life, and then was ready to put together my art studio. And then Spirit said, not yet, not here, you're moving and you're purging. And I got rid of 95% of all of my belongings from this lifetime, and I got up and moved to Gilmer, Texas. So here I am, starting brand new in the 104-degree heat. One of the things that I was shown was that so many of us were holding so much light in the Pacific Northwest that it was bringing up so much darkness, and that some of us needed to be redistributed to different ley lines. So many matching pictures, by the way. I was wondering why my higher self wanted me to tune in now. So I guess my question is, what are you getting for me? It's time for me to launch. It's time for me to put together panels. It's kind of similar to this. It's time for me to launch a podcast. It's time for me to start a new business with healing modalities, write a book, all of these different things. I was told many times, I don't need to know the how, the why, the what, just keep going. And also that you don't have to do it all right now. Once I took this leap of faith and got here, just about every trauma I'd ever visited came up to see if I wanted to dabble again. And I'm like, no. So peace is my happiness. And here we are. So I guess, what do you have for me? What are you getting? I wanted to support the panel and say thank you. And by the way, when I did ask a question before, I was completely tapped into the Akashic. And you had said that you were seeing that I was a drop-in, and it didn't resonate with me at the time, but then later what I was shown is I was dropping into myself. And that I had fragmented my soul in so many lives. And as I did the healing work and did soul retrieval work, I called my spirit back, but it got to the point where my spirit was bigger than my body, and I was trying to stuff this spirit bigger than the Pyramid of Giza into this little body, and I had to knock it off.
When you said drop in, like the way we talked about walk in? Is it that was the same kind of?
Yeah. So how I was shown later was that I was indeed not so much as a walk-in, but I was dropping into myself aspects of me, and all of the guides that I worked with, from Palladians to Arcturians to the first languages, the shaman that came through, Rafikiel, Seraphine, all of these different elementals. When I asked them to go away so that I could just work with my higher self, they each merged into my third eye and said, I am you. And then that was the day I was told I was a descended master.
I'm so curious to see what Katie sees in your chart. This is going to be
As am I.
Okay. I was just looking. Yeah, with those 5 Scorpio planets in your face, you have a natural passion to change the world, and you recognize you have the ability to change the world by just being yourself. Okay? Just by being yourself. But that you just talked about, it's pretty intense. So one of the images for Scorpio I like is you've got this water balloon inside of you, but you have your hand at the bottom. You can let the water out and stop it. You can let the water out and stop it, no matter what kind of intensity you got, because you have deep waters running deep. You can see, feel, and hear so much more of what other people have, whether they're clear or not, can hear or see or feel. And so the more you relax into your intensity in a slower way,
Mm-hmm.
or the path is clearer in front of you. That's one thing I would naturally say. And now, one of the things I look at usually with clients too is transits. And you're coming to a time when you are able to see relationships that you can accept just the way they are.
Yeah.
Just the way they are. And part of that is you accepting you just the way you are. But the more you rest in it, I think the easier. I also think that traveling is just the way you are, emotionally and intuitively traveling. Creativity will help you. You might not think you have it, but you do.
Oh, yeah.
The whole idea of us being on the planet is co-creation, one way or another. So all the things you mentioned are great ideas. Just pick one you like. And we've talked about, the panels talked about that kind of thing. Just pick a favorite one, do it and enjoy it, and pick another one and enjoy it. And it will be a seed that will go far.
Thank you.
That makes sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, my spirit kept telling me to slow down. And I'm like, I've never gone so slow in my life. No, go slower. Slow down again. Or we'll slow you down. Your body will slow you down.
Hey, we've got Kendara and Eva in line too.
Hello. So I, of course, drew an I Ching card for you because that's a good place to start. And you got a really, really good one. You got number 11, which is peace. Can you see it? Peace.
What is the word?
Peace.
Oh, peace.
Peace. Peacefulness. And it's called peace, but it's also called working together. And so they want you to take advantage of every single thing that is contributing to where you are right now. And it says, just share all your gifts. You're in a place to hold space. And that's basically why you're in Texas in 96-degree weather. So they want to make sure that you ensure fairness. Anything that gets in the way of productivity, they want you to listen to what other people have to share. Because by doing that, it will make them more inclined to listen to you. They said nobody likes a know-it-all. You're not a know-it-all, but because you're very knowledgeable, because you're very assured, it could set people back.
I trigger people. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it says just break large assignments down into small ones. And it also says basically put yourself into submission of listening to other people. And by doing that, you are going to get incredible information. And one more thing I got for you is somebody just came through and said they'd like you to start a blog. Because
I like, it's like the first thing I'm supposed to do while I'm creating my social media matrix, picking my new business name.
Okay, but really strong. Get rid of the word supposed to, because they said tell her not to do that. You'll do exactly what you need to do in the way you're supposed to, and you're right where you need to be. So, do you have a pet? Do you have a dog or a cat?
I have 2 cats right here and 2 dogs right here.
Okay, well, they feel like you're not giving them enough attention, especially the larger dog. They think the moving has kind of taken your attention away from what's going on. So make sure to reassure them that you love them. But anyway, you're right where you need to be. Just lighten up.
Yeah, there's 2 dogs and 8 cats with us, and
oh man, I'm gonna like you so much. Animals are
one of my elder dog passed, and then my elder kitty rehomed because she needed way more attention and wouldn't have been able to do this trip. But it's interesting because I was partly here to clear the land, and there were 2 dogs that were murdered on the land that have been hanging out with me, not quite ready to. I'm also a psychoprop or whatever, you know.
Helping people
clear land, help people pass. Yeah, but the 2 dogs have been hanging out.
Oh, well, they're with your dog that transitioned also. So you just get rid of the agenda about how it needs to be, because when you get peace,
Yeah, peace.
One of the best cards.
Play in peace. Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much validation.
Great. And Eva's next.
Hi, Isha.
Hi.
I had a thought process that led me to go ahead and pull cards, but you caught my attention with the slowing down part. And when you're talking about how to market yourself and get into business, and this is one of my favorite subjects. I'm just as much as a healer as I am a business person. There goes Katie, she knows. So the idea is we sometimes run away from the very thing that we have healed ourselves from, but that's the very problem we solve in the world. And that's what popped into my head. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm having a little bit of a harder time hearing you, but so don't run away from
where you have healed yourself. So
oh yeah, but I definitely need to work with people who have survivors of trauma, that kind of thing.
Okay, so then the hardest part for a lot of entrepreneurs is, especially when they have spiritual gifts, is figuring out what problem am I going to solve and for whom. Yeah. And those are the two main things I would focus on, and how you find that answer, because when that question came to mind, I went ahead and I pulled cards. So the desire to jump in and want to do things is that Spirit telling you to slow down, is these two together. So you have the Fool with the 8 of Cups. And the 8 of Cups is often about walking away, but I don't think that's what this means. I think this is more about that heavy water that Katie was talking about, and it's mastering the emotion, which is all about trauma. So this kind of answers that question of what to focus on. And then the how to get there was the 6 of Pentacles, which is equal, give, and receive. And specifically, intuitively, this tells me, I'm hearing music in the background and I'm getting attention issues.
I'd say, Isha, maybe could you mute? It might be your background noise.
Oh yeah, it might be interference from the frequency music. There we go. Is that better?
Thank you. Yeah, I have a hard time following my own train of thought when it's distracted. Yeah. And I don't have ADD, isn't that weird? So yeah, 6 of Pentacles is all about in alignment with Spirit, which is odd for a Pentacles because you want to think that's tangible something. But I think you're the tangible part. You're the, there's value in being a human being on the planet, and we're coveted and prized by the other side, the darkness you were talking about, for a reason. We have great magic, and you are coming to a place of mastery of that magic. And I think that's a way forward. But that marketing piece is going to be important. What do you want to solve? Who do you want to solve it for? And be very specific. That would be my advice to you.
I was shown I'm a master of compassion, and that is why I chose to experience all of the trauma and be the light in the dark grid.
Yeah, it's a great gift to do that. And that's all those cups.
And listening and peace.
It all makes sense to me. I hope it makes sense to you.
It does. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I'm thinking that in your eyes, you have a lot of the social and extroverted talents. And so I hear that you have a lot of animals with you. And I think it probably is also important that you create this with lots of other people. So if you have the Queen King talent, the one that's about power, it likes to be able to delegate to others and not do it all oneself. And you have clearly lots of ideas of what you see. They see whole paradigms and they enroll other people in implementing. So it's important that you don't do it all yourself. Do you have a group of others? Do you have others that are forming around you?
Well, I did this with my brother and my sister-in-law. We both sold our houses and moved here. Well, I sold mine and we bought an RV, and I bought this place. They haven't closed on their house yet. It keeps getting pushed back. But we have, I was ready to leave today. I was up all night thinking about walking away and leaving the rest of my things, including my animals, because so much trauma came up, and I was like, I have not done all of this healing work to be in a toxic relationship again. So I think right now there needs to be space between us if I'm going to stay here. But part of the reason I did this move was to have space and time to create, to not be chasing a mortgage, to spend time with my animals, to be able to slow down so that I can hear clearly, because there's so much, you know, rocks talk to me, trees talk to me, bugs talk to me, you know, but I've learned to turn down my dial and balance and, you know, do self-healing Reiki and coding, and, you know, I'm using all of my tools, but it's definitely like I'm absolutely being like asked to like come into my mastery, and like, how are you going to deal with other people who have trauma, who you trigger?
Is a part of it too, is that even if you see such a big picture of what could be, you are here in a body. And so not rushing yourself forward too fast.
Yeah. I see, I mean, I have land, I see putting out, you know, you asked me that before, actually. I do see, you know, putting up cabins and having spiritual retreats here, but it's probably a longer term goal, and I need to, yeah, just pick, I need to do some, I need to play and, you know, dabble and find things that bring me joy, because that's something, you know, I left home at 9 as a child. And so I've always been very grown up, and being a perfectionist, I learned was a coping mechanism, as I had many. So, you know, it's like I'm in my mid 40s, and it's time for me to be childlike, but also do all the adult things too. So,
you know, that the other house hasn't closed, there may be something important in that. You know, I just go in and check and see, are you really supposed to be there with them? Are they supposed to be here too? I don't know the answer.
Yeah. Well, we do have the RV as well, and I, as far as they know right now, I'm leaving. Yeah, I haven't even shared with them that I've started to soften my heart, and that there's a possibility that we could negotiate things. I've been physically assaulted. I've been verbally assaulted. I've been, you know, financially, like, just like pretty much everything that I've already overcame in the relationships that I left have come up again.
Yes, I would create space. I would create some space with them, however you're.
I have, like, I'm in the house, they're in the RV. As far as they know, I'm willing to get in my car and walk away with nothing, including my animals. So I'm sure my animals are feeling that, but it's not fair for me. My animals are safe with them, but I don't feel safe with them. So that's where I'm like, I spent a month telling my child self that we're safe, and I'm like, no, I can do better than that. I need to show my child self that we're freaking safe by, you know, standing in our power, having clear boundaries and discernment, and being willing to walk the frick away, even though I put all my cards on the table, came into it with a full heart, my wallet, everything. And I'm like, I'll light my cards on fire, tip the table over, and burn like a phoenix and start over again if I need to. Because I know that that wherever I go, I'm going to be okay. And it took me a long time to get here. So, yeah.
So you're definitely connected to your power. And so you'll be using that to be safe.
Yeah.
To create what's coming through you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Anything else to share with Isha?
You know, because of the cluster of what's going on with you, you know, I often recommend people to go very, 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 very clear. So the chant I would suggest is, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe.
I'm safe, I'm safe.
Because it goes around the neural pathways of belief systems, and you're so brilliant, you've got a lot of input and a lot of output, but you're a Pisces, and you're just such a soft little sweetie pie of marshmallow, part of you is, when the other part of you is, don't come near me. So you have both of those things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. And then that will help seed and create the manifestation. safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. I use it to this day because I think that's the one thing that we can.
Yeah. I've been saying, I am the light, I am the light, I am the light. The light strengthens me. I've been pulling up earth energy, pulling in the column, yeah, using all my tools and like calling in, emergency divine intercession, because I was led here. I was told it was, I was divinely guided here, and to do this with them as well. But things change.
It may have been for a different reason. You thought that it was that, and it's actually something else on your journey.
Yeah. Are you picking up that I'm supposed to be here in this place on this land? Is anyone getting that clearly, or is it?
Go ahead, Kendara, you had. Yeah, Kendara, go ahead. I can't.
I'm picking up you need to be here at this time.
That's what I got too.
Yeah, that's all you need to know.
And yeah, and that's how spirit guides me. It's just like follow the bouncing ball. You don't need to know the how, the why, the what. Just keep going, and then you'll get more clarity. And
you're clearing up some past life stuff with your siblings also, and it feels like it's in that area of the country.
I told him, even though I was your wife in a past life and I was your slave in a past life, you will never have my crown again. I said those exact words to him yesterday. And then I was a F and B and go F your mother and on. So. Yeah.
No, it feels like you shouldn't give your power away by leaving. Honestly, it feels like you need to be here at the time. And in the I Ching, there's a saying, when the superior person, that's you, sees the inferior person, which are the ones you're dealing with, as gone in their mind, they vanish of their own accord. Just don't react. Don't give them your power. And they're going to get kind of tired of yanking your chain.
I think that's where I am, because I'm not responding other than saying what I needed to say because I hadn't been heard for a month. I would try to communicate and I would literally get attacked.
Well, it sounds like you're doing great with facing this and moving through it. So
yeah. One of my favorite border phrases is border setting phrases is that just doesn't work for me.
And I said, what is it that you want to accomplish with this bully energy?
No questions. A question will get you into a
it's not to engage them, just to simply
that just doesn't work for me. Okay. And I did say that. I said, this doesn't work for me. And I actually, since he seems to communicate better through Facebook Messenger, I sent him my list of everything that doesn't work for me and that I don't consent to, and called all my power back, called in the violet flame. I said it to him. And I
encourage you to keep it simple. This just doesn't work for me. You don't have to explain why, give him points to argue with you. It's just very simple.
This just doesn't work for me. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, great. Let us know how it goes.
Thank you.
All right, and we've got one more question. Carol Faye, I'm bringing you up. All right.
Hi there. So I've gotten part of the answer through other people's questions, but I've been doing this a long time. I've stepped away to do other things. I don't know now if I'm actually procrastinating or if I'm percolating, and how long is this cup of tea gonna, I like strong tea, but come on. Also, I do many things and I would like to combine them into one. Do you see that as possible, or am I supposed to stick with one thing? Does that make any sense?
And I just an initial, combining them into one way that you present yourself and talk about yourself is fine. And don't do it in a way that limits you and narrows you, where you think you have to make it focused.
Okay.
I don't know what all, do you want to say, do you want to say anything about what all the different things are? Because there may be a way to hold them.
Oh, well, I'm a intuitive psychic medium, international representative for the ISF, the International Spiritualist Federation. I've done I Ching, I've done herbs, I've done rocks and crystals, and I've done lots, all kinds of healing modalities. I've been part of churches, running spiritualist churches, foremost, I guess, a teacher. But I'm stuck in that. Am I really procrastinating? Is or not?
Okay, here's a question. What are you afraid of?
Success.
What are you afraid of? What's scary about
Succeeding.
that? I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Well, it's good.
Well, I do know. Part of it goes back to when I was a child, and I did have a seance on my 9th birthday. It was a physical seance. Saint Cabrini showed up, and then I went to a shrink. And I know the shrink shrunk me, and I haven't been able to break some of those programs that he's put in.
Yeah.
That was some years ago. I know that's part of it, and I've been working on that for many years. Can't seem to break through that, but feel there's more besides that.
Yeah, through creativity, you have an opportunity right now to really get into the roots. Through creativity, this will help because you don't think you're creative, but you are. And also taking some time for yourself because you are sensitive, right? And so that is your superpower, your sensitivity. But Mars is going to go over your face, which is going to give you energy. Energy in nature, I think, might really help you to listen to where your heart wants to go. Because if you love what you're doing, and I'm talking to myself here, if you love what you're doing, every single fear in front of you about the business will sort of fall away. Absolutely do what you love to do. And you're very inspiring. You have that Aries moon. You can inspire just by going places where nobody else is scared to go. So just go there with your heart and love yourself as much as you love other people. Try that.
Thank you. I will say I'm also displaced right now. I'm not in my own home. I've been taking care of a friend that had a stroke for the last 2.5 years. So that also factors into this, not being where my stuff is and dragging my stuff here. And that also has a lot to do with it, I think.
Yeah, well, you're going to have a lot of energy to shift, I think.
Good.
Good.
Thank you.
Eva's next.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for your question. And I just want to clarify. So in having a lot of gifts, not knowing what to focus on in offers, is that what you're looking to clarify? Is what you want to focus on in business?
Yeah, well, yes, because I'd like to bring something, all of it together somehow.
Okay.
I also am a horticulturist and yada yada. Yeah.
Well, because me too, multi-potentialist, here we come. And the idea is to find that one thing, like what Katie's talking about, is following that little thread of what is the golden thread between all of these things and making that your overarching theme of your message. So like mine's Burnout. And so the company name is the Elevate Institute. And I have many things that fall under that, both in person and virtually, to help people reverse their burnout. And even though there's so many different ways that a person can be helped, I focus on the one in my marketing. Now, who you offer your services to in marketing is different than who you can help. It took me years to overcome that. I think I want to help everybody. I want to have a generic type. I just need to help everybody with burnout. No, you have to be specific in your marketing, because if you're talking to everyone, you're really talking to no one, right? And so this is more marketing sense than it is in an intuitive reading. This is just my experience I'm sharing with you. But yeah, I would agree that if you can find what that golden thread is between all of these different modalities that you love using, think about how a mechanic fixes a car. We don't need to know all the different ways that he fixes the car and gets it to perfection. We just want to know that it's done. If you think of it from that level, I heal cars, and in your case, whatever it is you want to focus on, then you're going to attract people who have that problem, and then you can sell them whatever is most appropriate. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is that helpful, or is it too overwhelming?
Yeah, it is. And I guess I actually want to be director of education somewhere. I love teaching. I love watching the people spark when they get something. So that is something very big for me. So while you were talking, I was hearing, well, you want to be director of education, and I do.
Very good. Yeah, I love getting those messages when they come in. It's perfect.
Thank you.
That's great. So you just figure out the name of the place where you're director of education, because you're already director of education. And so what's the name of the place? Great, Kendara's next.
Well, I want to say, first of all, I've been a spiritualist for years. It was my first connection with religion, and I just absolutely respect that so much. That's neither here nor there. I drew a card for you, and I got revolution. Woohoo. And this is what revolution looks like. Can you see it?
Yes.
Isn't it beautiful? So you're talking about total change. And what they're saying basically is it's reaching the goal. It's re-identifying yourself. It's just totally, you've already got the skills, so you're not having to change everything. It's changing the way you're thinking and recognizing that outmoded ways of thinking no longer work for you. It wants you to avoid resisting change or wanting to go back to the way things were, even though it gives you a feeling of security. And so basically, they just want you to look at this opportunity as reinvention. And as we were sitting here talking to you, I got a really strong feeling that I should suggest to you the possibility of a soul retrieval. Are you familiar with that concept?
Yes.
I have a person who could do it, and I would suggest you have the soul retrieval done for the time you had your birthday, and the shrink had you shrink your beliefs, and it will bring those pieces back to you. And you'll go to the next step. And one more thing. It says to avoid bringing yesterday's strategies to today's challenges. And even though you feel like you've been confined for the past 2 years, it's not. It's like a butterfly. It's like creating a metamorphosis so you can go to the next step. So if you do want the name of someone who does do soul retrievals, I'd be happy to put it in the box. She does it online. But I hope this helps you a little bit. You really are right where you need to be. And you've got all the skills you need. So way to go.
Thank you.
Great, just a little bit I'll share. There's someone that's listening right now that part of the way they describe their work is they remove negative energy from people, places, and things. So I just love the way that flows and the way that gets across what they're doing. So there's what you're doing and what is the impact that you have. And so if you're a director of education, what is the impact on people that are around you? Right, and that's something that might be in the name of the place, right? The name of the business, etc., where you are. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the thing that pulls everything all together, and there's just all these different ways that you support people, work with people. Yeah. And the person that you've been taking care of, so you're still there taking care of this person?
Yes.
And do you imagine that this is going to go on for much longer? Do you know what's happening?
I'm not thinking so.
Yeah. And so you're planning for
the transition is coming sooner than we'd hoped.
Yeah.
At least that's what it feels like the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, so really soon. Yeah. And it seems there's something important about you being with what's next while you're being here with this ending and transitioning and changing. And I wonder if you won't have your answers just yet. Like it seems like the thing to do is to be here with what's happening now. And your answers may even emerge from what's happening now.
Okay.
You just had so much come up as I was asking about that. Yeah. And just the other thing that I was thinking of, the soul retrieval is a good idea. I just kept thinking about fire and burning, and really feeling your anger as to the things that were done to you that were intended to help and that may have helped in some ways at the time, but that really aren't of service to you now, and really feeling your anger about that. And so some sort of ceremony and burning seems,
Yeah, there's a lot of anger brewing the last couple of months that's been building.
yeah. And it might be towards that practitioner and the people that took you there, guided you there.
And then everything adds to it. And I've been kind of trying to keep the inner Karen in as much as I can, but she comes out every now and then.
There's a place for really being healthily angry. But yes and no, it's not to hurt anyone else. It's just fierce boundaries. Looks like Katie has something to say about that too. Yeah.
I just was really drawn to say, you have writing ability, you have very strong beliefs, but one of the things I suggest with this, because we are trained to keep our anger in for much too long, is I call poison pen letters. And you get a paper, you get a notebook, and you just rip as much as possible, as hard as possible, as insane as possible, things you would never in a million world think that you could possibly imagine saying. And then you burn it if you want to, you tear it up if you want to, but honoring that anger will get it out of your body and clarify. It will like clear the air because you're honoring that little girl, and honoring it by releasing the anger. And that seems to help a lot of people, because anger turns out to be my friend. It's a sign that says something's got to change. And when we can't be clear about that as child, when we have children, we have no control, then my experience is I still have to anger it. I have to honor it. And you have an Aries moon and I have an Aries moon. And once that anger got out, I was able to see how I could use my assertiveness as inspiration. So I encourage you to try that.
And for me, the physical expression is so important. So an example of something you can do is lion's pose, where you make sure that you hold your throat open and your vocal cords open. And I tend to do this in the shower. And it's right in purging the things that you had to take in that were not of service to you, that you refuse to hold anymore.
I actually do something very similar to that, sitting here every now and then. And I haven't done that in a long time, the actual lion's pose. So yes, I will get back to that as well.
Yeah. Great. Kendara,
Thank you.
As we sat here at the very, very end, I got the most incredible message to give you. And that was, who was it you connected with on your 9th birthday? Was it an angel or a saint?
Saint Cabrini.
Go back and connect with them and it will give you closure.
She's actually my gatekeeper. She's around a lot.
Oh, that gives me chills. That's so cool.
So she is around a lot.
That's powerful. And one more thing, but wait, there's more. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you.
No, you're very welcome. Thank you for being so open. The mind does not recognize the difference between what's happening and what you think is happening. So in your mind, you can go back and relive the situation, the altercation, any condition that's holding you back, and see it the way you want it to be. And you'll start responding energetically. Thank you for being so open. And if you do want the name of the person does the soul retrieval, I can put it in chat.
Yeah, please.
Okay,
please.
She's amazing. And she does it all online. You'll love her.
And
She does it on the phone. She doesn't like doing that.
I will say that the shrink did give me a gift. And that was, I came out as an atheist. And at 9, I didn't know what that was. And a few weeks later, I was an agnostic and still didn't know what that was. So that led me on a path of learning and inquiring and going to every church that my friends went to. And that started me on the path, but also hindered another portion. So I don't wish evil thoughts at him. I just want to know what else he programmed me with. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for opening up and being so open.
It's easy with y'all. My southern side showing.
It's a good group.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's great collaborating with you. Okay, anything else for Carol Faye just before we meet? Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for being at our panel. I'm going to put some more information in the chat in a moment. Please be sure to fill out the feedback form, and we'll put you in a drawing for a free 30-minute session with one of the practitioners of your choice. We're going to be sharing a little bit again about who we are. I'll put everyone's information in the chat. So go ahead and close out. Make sure to say your name, what you do, and how people can get in touch with you. So Katie, Kendara, Stephanie, Eva. Go ahead, Katie.
Hi, my name is Katie Kay, and I'm a spiritual astrologer who is actually a coach. So I'm a spiritual coach using astrology and tarot. Done it for about 35 years. I'm a certified coach and a certified astrologer. My website is spiritplays.net. My email is spiritplays@gmail.com. And I probably have an Instagram, and I might even have a Facebook, but boy, I'm not really good at that. So you can always ask Lorelei, and she knows where I am, but one-to-one networking, and I really love working one-to-one to people. So let me know how I can help, if I can help.
Thanks, Katie. Kendara.
I'm Kendara Laurel, and the things I do are belief shifting, which helps you find and remove self-sabotaging beliefs, tarot, Ching, and apparently Akashic Records down the line. I can be reached at my website, which is kendaralaurel.com. And I have an incredible Introduction to Metaphysics meetup that meets online twice a month and has 3,746 people. And I'd love to have all of you come and present. Lorelei's presented several times, and it's just a wonderful way, and that's in chat. And this has just been so great connecting with everybody. So thank you.
Thanks, Kendara. Stephanie?
Okay, I am Stephanie Bucklin, and intuitive Reiki psychic medium, coach, and event planner, doing all kinds of things in the world. And you can find me online at stephaniebucklin.com. And that's STEPHANIEBUCKLIN.com. And Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere else, it's One Love Warrior. I am a love warrior. I find it fighting for love everywhere and doing as much as I can to heal the world. And I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much.
And Eva.
Thank you. Yeah, Eva Vennari, founder and practitioner of the Elevate Institute, helping busy professionals take the guesswork out of burnout, and specifically using hair mineral analysis. So it's all about the relationship of minerals in the body. And you can find me at theelevateinstitute.com. Most of the time, our spiritual blockages are because the body's in the way. Get the body out of the way, the rest will heal.
Thanks so much, Eva. And then also on our panel, we did have Carrie Bennett, Crystal Energy Work and Healing. She's on Instagram at Juniper Moon Holistic, Juniper Moon 555 on Facebook, junipermoon@yahoo.com. And she has special tonight too, that's in the chat. And for a little while, we were joined by Henry. I want to share Henry's information again too. And I shared Henry's cards earlier. Henry India Holden, Holden Metaphysical Consultancy, Ecotherapy, Life Coaching, Tarot Guidance, Spiritual Healing. And Henry can be reached at henryindiaholden.com, HenryIndiaholden.com. And Henry's cards will be available soon. And then I'm Lorelei Shmayo. I'm an intuitive eye reader, body psychology coach. I read your eyes, read your soul, and answer questions about your soul, your purpose, your path, help you grow through lessons, help you choose environments, projects, people to live the best you, live your purpose. Have a book, lots of materials for teaching you how to read other people and how to be the best you. And I run MeWe fairs and events, and we've got lots of online events coming up, including tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. We have a panel on healing from narcissistic abuse, and we have lots more coming up. Thank you so much. You can learn about all of our events at mewefairs.com, MEWEFAIRS.com. Thank you so much, everyone, for being on the panel, for asking questions, for holding great space, for learning and growing together. Yeah, appreciate that very much. All right.